Hello, everyone. I'm Captain Logan, and it's time for more of our top 100 favorite non superhero movies ever made. And we're on to number 70. We've knocked down a whopping 30 of these. And get ready to hang out with us until I'm even more gray in the hair, because it's going to be a long time, everybody. Five more this evening. Just to recap where we were at the end of last show, my 71 was A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Remind me what your 71 was, Austin.
Skyfall.
Oh, yes. And Connor.
Mine was Invasion of Astro Monster, aka Godzilla vs. Monster Zero.
Oh, that was your very last one? I was actually thinking about you talking about that today, and I thought it was even earlier in the list. That's the very last thing you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for joining me again, gentlemen. Yeah, that one's fun. I need to watch that Unfettered at some point. I've only seen that talking over it. I wonder how long that list is now. Movies I've only seen while making a commentary. I should rank those.
You should do like the rewatch where you're just sitting there with like a notepad, and then it's like a reaction stream. You're like, I don't remember any of this.
Imagine if that was a Mania. Like, the Mania is movies I've only seen while doing a commentary, and I'm doing them again, and I'm still not watching them unfettered. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right into it, guys. Thanks for joining us. If you're watching live, appreciate it. Thanks for watching after the fact. Hope you guys are enjoying these. And actually, real quick, I just want to thank Connor for making time in his busy schedule to come in every week and do these with us. Because, again, this is going to be quite the gauntlet. It takes us a couple hours every time, and we only get through 5 movies. I don't know why he not only agreed to do this, but, like, asked to come on and make this a regular thing. But Connor, you've added so much variety to this. This dynamic has been a lot of fun. I just want you to know how glad I am that you're here. So thanks, buddy.
Well, I appreciate that, but I mean, I love you guys. I love talking with you guys. I love hearing, like, having this discussion. Like, it's one of like my favorite things is movies and talking about movies and that variety. So thank you for having me.
Connor, you and I have a couple big things in common. We talked about one of these before we started broadcasting. One of them is that we're not above wasting our time with watching things we know are terrible. And the other thing is that we like lists.
Yes, we do.
Although Austin and I also like lists. We've spent the better part of our time together on the channel. We do a lot of lists.
Every time we finish a list, Bag Studios messages me and he's like, by the way, the collective of like all of your lists is up to this. It's up to like 3 days long now.
Yeah, and I keep threatening to make supercuts of them. And it's just a long time to render on my machine, and so I haven't gotten to it yet. It's like I would need a week where I wasn't broadcasting, or I would need to use a different machine. Like, there would be no rendering those, getting them exported and uploaded while we're broadcasting. But the top 100 superhero movies is, a bunch of hours, and
Oh yeah.
we've got, I don't even know how many
long.
I don't even know how many of those lists we have now. Oh, I will say, quick plug for this. I have a playlist of them now, of the ones related to Rewind, and most of them are superhero things. This is the first big one that's not. But I thought about using the same show title and still calling it part of Superhero Rewind Unscripted, just because the word superhero is in the title. So it's like, well, we did top 100 superhero movies. All of our superhero fans want us to talk about non-superhero movies. We'll just make it a Rewind show. But that seemed like a bridge too far, so I didn't do that.
That means next, because we did the top 50 Marvel and DC characters. That would mean next we'd have to do the top 50 or 100 just characters that aren't superheroes.
That's a fun idea. Of course, there'd be a lot of repeat stuff from this list, but I'm sure there would be things that would pop up, and they wouldn't all be movie related necessarily, would they?
Not necessarily. I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah, because that wasn't movie related, the Marvel and DC ones. So you could do anything, really.
Yeah, you could make it. That would be actually. I love that idea. Once again, we are plotting on camera. But I really think
The
the
list
idea
will
is
never end.
they could be. We'll never run out of ideas. It could be. And what's really nice is we don't have to come up with that many ideas because every time we have one, it takes 8 months. But
Yeah,
like it could
exactly.
be literary characters, it could be television characters. Like it would, the variety would be wild. You and I would probably have very little crossover.
I feel like if it were just across all media, not superhero, the three of us could do like 100 and not have crossover.
Not have that much crossover. There's a few things we both say.
You two would be like really distinct camps, and then I would be splitting the difference because I would have like Toxic Avenger and someone else from like Caps list.
Yeah,
I
but
just
it would
double-dipping
be
both of you guys.
it would be non-superhero though.
Okay, true.
We would have
I
like
would
8
have-
variations of Godzilla from different movies.
Sure, I would have the
Yeah.
little guy who jumps on the bar in Total Recall with the machine gun. I'd have him in my list, and so would Austin. But
I
then
could
I'd
do
also
top
have,
100
like,
midgets in general. I could do that just as a thing.
you know, Cap and I think we both like Ray Kroc and the Founder. We both have him on our list. Or
Yeah, if
Lonesome Rhodes.
if it could be real people, I figured it would all be fictitious. But if it's just characters that have been played by someone or show up in. There are no rules, folks. You could say anything. You can say absolutely anything.
You got a Pac-Man and Heather Locklear right next to each other. Things are gonna get crazy.
My 89 is JFK. From what? I don't know. I just like JFK. All right. Who the hell is John F. Kennedy? Real life actual Jim Carrey put in a $5 super chat. You know what? I was gonna break the record and launch into the list like 2 minutes in, and that did not work out. But we're gonna go ahead and do the couple super chats real quick, and then we will finally start on our number 70. Real life actual Jim Carrey $5 super chat. The spirit of Andy Kaufman possessed me and told me to tell you that Man on the Moon better be on one of your lists. I'm looking at you, Austin. Well, you should unsubscribe right now. That's not gonna happen.
That's a great gag. I applaud you, sir.
He's still on the shtick, dude. This is another one of those accounts where I want to know who he is, because it's probably someone we know.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Like, it's almost certainly a regular. We've had
$5.
no, here's $5 has not been with us for quite a while. I mean, it could be, but I really doubt it. Although they've usually been $5 super chats, I guess it's possible. But the last couple weeks, we've had like 3 new usernames that keep coming in and leaving kind of amusing super chats, and I keep thinking that at least 2 of them are the same guy because they're new names, but they keep coming up one after the next one. And then this guy was just after that, so they could all be that guy. I don't know. And none of them have responded to my saying that. Bob the Hun, $2 super chat. 100 least favorite non-superhero movies follow-up. If we did it, we would be uniform, I think, and we would do it like we did with superhero movies, where it wouldn't be 100, it would be 50. Just so that we're not
That'd
being
be hard,
negative for quite as long. But that sounds like an impossible list to make. I mean, 4 or 5 things immediately come to mind. I think we all have those few movies that just really piss us off, right? But
And we're gonna finish it.
But
Can I just say Cars 2 50 times and be done with it?
If you get to do that, I get to say Maleficent 50 times.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, for me, it's like the really bad stuff doesn't stick with me, and it isn't very memorable.
That makes it tough.
And it's also
Yeah.
like what pissed me off when I was like 20. I don't know if it would piss me off as much at 30, And so
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. The
I would need
things
to
that really make
revisit
you...
a lot of terrible stuff I don't ever want to watch again.
That's the thing is, I wouldn't want to have to rewatch them, so I'd be going off of memory, and then that's a great call, Connor. It's like, am I still as mad about it? Do I even remember why? It's like an argument you have with an ex-girlfriend. Like, do I even remember what I was upset about with that? I know I was mad, but I think you'd be ranking experiences more than anything. You know what I mean? So it's like, maybe if you watched it now, it wouldn't make you feel the same way, but what you're ranking is movies that made you wish you weren't watching them, like as you were watching them, or movies that made you question why you watched movies.
Hey, I had that earlier today. I watched Epic movies, so I get it.
Yeah, like theatrical
I love that
experiences
movie.
come
It's great.
to my mind like The Box.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I watched. There was this Angelina Jolie directed film called By the Sea. It came out in 2015, 2016. I
Oh, I
was I was
remember that.
I was working at a movie theater at the time, and I was the only person in the theater, and I was so bored. But no movie's ever broken me before. Like I've never walked out of a movie, and probably should have. But like I got up and I started pacing through the aisles like during that movie.
That's
I
awesome.
could like barely like think. I was so bored.
See, I wish I had been smart like you guys and kept up with the letterbox all this time because I know there's a bunch of stuff I've seen that, either direction, like maybe really happy or really tick me off that I just would have to go look at lists of movies that came out each year and then even synopses because you might see a title and not even remember that you saw it. Like, Connor, those years where you watched like 500 movies in a year, I'm sure you have that, where you don't even necessarily right away looking at a title remember that you've said, oh, that's that piece of crap. That's right.
See, my memory's pretty good, and I'm really happy that. See, the problem is like I got onto Letterbox in 2017, and that was the same year that I got like fired from the movie theater. So like 2015 and 16, I watched so many movies, and 2017 was close enough in proximity where I could just log them, but I don't have like the dates and like the immediate like kind of reactions like in text form to like how
Yeah.
I felt about those. And it's probably good because like anyone follows me on Letterbox, like my first 5 years of reviews suck. So like nobody should ever read those. So but I do kind of wish I'm like, what day did I watch that movie? Where did
I
I
was gonna
watch
say,
that
but if they
movie?
weren't public, it'd be nice to have for you. Like, it might be sort of
Oh yeah.
embarrassing,
Oh
where like
yeah.
you don't want to read your thoughts, but it'd be nice just to check in and be like, what was the experience I had? Like,
Yeah, no, and like now it's like I could watch 4 movies a day in like 2016 and like remember each movie individually. I
yeah.
watched 2 movies in one day earlier this week, and I can't remember which scene is from which movie. I watched Scary Movie 4 and Date Movie in the same day. And I'm like, what scene was it where they're speaking Japanese, but they're just saying like Toyota, Mitsubishi, and like that they
Is it
have like
bad that I know it offhand?
it took me a second, but it's Scary Movie 4, right? Like,
Yeah.
for a minute, I was like, wait a minute, what was that?
Well, and
Yeah,
the
Shock
memory
of the
thing,
Country Boy.
how much of that is getting older? How much of it is your priorities being in different places than they were back then? And how much of it is just you watch too much of the same kind of thing over and over again, and it does start to kind of glaze over
Yeah.
and wind in and out a little bit. Like you've seen so many movies at this point that even if you took a lot of time off and you came back, there was some amount of burnout that happens where you're like, okay, this is the 500th time I've seen this trope. I've seen this cliche. I've seen this exact exchange.
See, Cap is speaking from experience because he does this with Smallville every few years, and so he's like, "What episode? I've seen this episode 5 times, and I can't remember if it's in season 2 or 5 because they all start to germinate."
This is my entire experience making Spawn here. It's just the same
But it's
damn
because
thing
the
every
cast
time,
is always
and
changing,
it's
right? So they recontextualize the previous
that's
issues.
it. That's it. But what's happening right now is completely stagnant every time. Real life Andy Kaufman, the real life actual Jim Carrey, $2 super chat. Austin, please explain how Andy Kaufman possesses me.
Ego.
It's a good answer. Good answer. Okay, let's get into our list. We're already 15 minutes into the stream. I was going to break the record one direction. I think I broke it the other way. Let's start, as we always do, with Connor Nielsen and find out what his... I'm doing like my American Top 40 voice. Let's find out what Connor Nielsen's top 70 movie of all time is right now.
Thank you, Casey Kasem. So with the last movie, there's a bit of a theme with the last movie of last stream and then the first movie of this stream. So I did Godzilla versus Monster Zero, and I'm keeping that trend with 1933's King Kong. Uh,
Yes.
this movie is one of the most important movies that's ever been made. It is one of the most written about movies that's ever been made. It is probably definitely in the top, I'll say three movies that have probably inspired the most filmmakers in the world. And I would also probably put the original Frankenstein maybe in the top 10 or the top five. But like, if you list, like, there are generations of filmmakers where King Kong is in their DNA. You know, of course, there's Peter Jackson, but there are countless others. So, what's great about King Kong is that, like, you could make the argument this is like the most American movie that's ever been made because so much of just like the American ethos is just in the movie. But what's really cool about it is that it is very authentically just a monster movie of its time. It's not really concerned with a sort of like postmodern meta element. It predates that because this is kind of from a time where people just made movies as their job. And so a movie about people trying to make a movie didn't have that sort of like self-referential like quality to it. And that makes it work. This kind of comes from that era of like where you look at who made King Kong, and it's two guys you've never heard of. You know, like they've made other movies that you maybe have heard of, but like nobody says my favorite filmmakers are Marion C. Cooper and Ernest B. Schutz. Nobody really says that. The same way that like the 1950s War of the Worlds movie is a classic, but nobody could tell you the director of that movie. I watched that recently and I liked it a lot, but it's cool. Like I like that where it's like this is just back in the day where making a movie was a job. You just rolled cameras, you had a script, you shot it, you put it out. And every once in a while, one of those workmen would just, or journeymen, or whatever you want to call them, all of the pieces would be there, and they would make a stone cold classic that they'll be writing academically about for decades, century, like a century. And then you know, if you're Peter Jackson, you make a narrative feature film that functions as like an essay. So um, a very, very long essay. But uh, that's kind of, I guess, talking more around the movie. But what I like about this movie is I just like watching the movie. And what's really kind of cool is you can approach it from this postmodern kind of like meta perspective. And it does kind of function in a really cool way. That's why I think it is sort of the basis for a lot of academic writing. Even people who are critical of it, if you're critical of it, you end up finding that the movie is supportive of itself, even if you're critical. Like it's really kind of locked down. I'm trying to be a little vague because I don't want to like go down too many rabbit holes here. But what's really neat though is the movie is Carl Denham. Like the movie starts and it has all of this showmanship and all of this pageantry and all of this selling itself to you. But what you're looking at is pretty humble, right? And then they get to Skull Island and it delivers on its promise. The same way Carl Denham is trying to get people, he's trying to get a girl in his movie. Nobody wants to like send him a girl. He has to go out and find it himself, find her himself. He finds Fay Ray and he's promising her adventure, promising like, you know, fame and fortune, which is, you know, promising the audience special effects, romance, pretty girl, like big King Kong, right? And then when they do get to Skull Island, and it just becomes scene after scene after scene after scene of like the most entertaining adventure movie you could possibly have. And like maybe it's dated for a lot of people watching it. They probably go, "Eh, it's really old, whatever." But like something about the handcrafted novelty of just the innovation, it still feels fresh to me. Like I'm excited looking at these special effects be invented in front of my eyes. It's really cool to see like Kong interact with the players because like there's a part of your brain where you think this is too early for them to really do that, and they do it and you go, whoa. Like it's really cool. I love this movie. I think everybody should watch it at some point. Anyone who's probably watching the stream has seen it. I just put it on earlier today because I've seen this movie like several times throughout like my life, and even like just watching it at the beginning, they have like that old Arabian proverb that feels like a Carl Denham sensational showmanship quality, trying to get you excited for what you're about to watch. It's great. I love King Kong, and yeah, I mean even Quentin Tarantino has to like slide in a very famous scene about how like King Kong is analogous to the slave trade, but like then you can look at Peter Jackson's remake and it's like calling it basically the movie of movies with his movie. So like, anyways, King Kong, love it.
King Kong's also the first film to ever have a commentary, which is really cool.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know
that
that.
was the
Yep.
second Criterion Laserdisc had that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on Laserdisc, and it was basically like a film historian talking over it. And it's funny 'cause it starts with like, "Here's a novel idea. I'm gonna like guide you through the film as you watch it, and you can only do this with the power of Laserdisc."
And everybody that did a Laserdisc commentary made a big deal out of that. It was like and they all said it like that. The power of Laserdisc. Everybody
Yeah.
file that piece of trivia away for bar trivia, okay? Because it's good. It's gonna come up at some point. The first comment.
Yeah,
We should all look that up and make sure Austin's right about it. But I believe him.
No,
yeah, I learned that recently, like a couple months ago. I never knew that. That's really cool.
Have you ever listened to the beginning of it? I've only listened to the beginning of it, but it's like, don't adjust your audio. This is an audio commentary.
Is he also the first person that says if you're listening to this while watching it for the first time, you're doing it wrong? Because early, and even sometimes now you'll hear it, but like early directors and filmmakers making commentaries would always do that. They'd be like, now, I don't want to spoil things. Well, I guess I will. You should probably have already seen this movie before.
Don't remember, but like he is doing it as a lecture, so like I feel like that's probably implied if he doesn't say
Oh,
it.
sure. It's an academic
Yeah.
exercise.
Yeah.
I think they did that in like film schools or colleges or something where they would like play a movie but then like cut the sound out and then like a lecturer would just be there kind of like pointing to scenes, but like doing it as a bonus like a home media release thing was novel. So
Yeah. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
that in film classes. Not that I
But
majored
to
in
add
film,
on,
but I took a couple.
but to add on to what you're saying, Connor, with like the effects, King Kong is never as charming as he is in the original movie. Both with the mixture of the stop motion and the like really silly but endearing like close up that they do of his face. It's wonderful. I love it so much.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Embarrassingly, I still have never sat down and watched it all the way through. I still haven't
Really?
done it. Yeah. I
Wow.
was never a big monster movie guy. I've never gotten around to it.
See, my thing is I've never really been into big monkeys. And
That's
then,
my,
like,
yes, that's the reason well, we talked about this before. That's the reason I didn't watch Planet of the Apes for the longest time. Not they're like big monkeys, but just monkeys, like in general. I don't know.
But when I rewatched the original King Kong before Godzilla vs. Kong came out, I was like, man, big apes are cool. I get it. Like I get it now.
The only thing I wish we got in King Kong, because everyone goes to the pit scene that's like famously deleted. But there's a deleted scene as well where he climbs like a big mountain at the center of the island, and I kind of wish we got that because it's obviously paralleling the ending, and I kind of wish that was still there. But
That would be cool.
it's pretty much a perfect movie.
Let me read these comments real quick because there's a lot of people excited about you bringing this movie up, Connor. Danaverse, without Willis O'Brien, there'd be no Harryhausen. Danaverse, their prior film was a very good adaptation of The Most Dangerous Game a year earlier, and the set was
Yes.
later reused for King Kong.
Yeah, that's actually in the Criterion collection, I think. The Most Dangerous Game is. I still haven't picked that up, but I hear it's really good. I don't want to give off the impression that they're bad filmmakers. They're just, they probably made a lot of very good movies that aren't remembered as well. But
But I liked your point that there are a lot of early filmmakers like that they've got that one that sticks in the zeitgeist and that people keep writing papers about. Nicholas Bodo, King Kong is almost a precursor to the blockbuster film. I think you could say that about Godzilla. Like I think there's definitely disaster movies in general that you can say that about as much as monster movies. Like Poseidon Adventure comes to mind.
Yeah, and disaster movies like were the original blockbusters, like they were the big thing, and then monster movies kind of like spawn out of that. Well, like obviously it is a disaster movie to some degree, but like we lessen or add more to that depending on
And sometimes they're
the monster movie.
very often those early ones are played as natural disaster movies, even if it's kind of a supernatural thing that couldn't happen in real life. So like Godzilla is a thing we created. It feels like a well, I guess in that case, it's not even a natural disaster movie. That would be more of kind of a science fiction sort of thing. But like, I don't know. At first, when you're not sure where it came from, it's like, oh, there's this natural scary animal. Like Jurassic Park's the same way. Like it's a disaster movie, except we made them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Batman Begins is ass. Yeah, that's a username. I want to know who these new usernames are. I really think they might all be the same person. $20 or different people are getting the idea now of changing their name to something ridiculous. $20 Mexican pesos. Thoughts on Batman Begins? Well, I put my thoughts
It's ass.
on the channel many times, and it is not ass. It's my favorite, and you know that, which is why you did that. I am sure.
Hey, you gotta play into the bit. It's ass.
I can't in good conscience say
Look,
Batman Begins is ass. Like
I think Batman Begins is as good as superhero movies get. So I am all in agreement.
why do you keep saying words weird? 885th Batman fan, $5 super chat. Adding on to your point, Connor, I'm glad Peter Jackson didn't overshadow this the same way De Palma's Scarface has overshadowed that one. I've got that same beef with Scarface because the original silent film is wonderful and is the reason we have the modern gangster film, and I've actually never seen the Scarface everyone knows all the way through, but it is sad that original movie is, and partly because I saw that silent film and loved it, and I think it is kind of sad that got overshadowed.
I think it helps that Peter Jackson's King Kong exists to prop up the original. Like, everything about that movie is like, the original is perfect, it's wonderful.
But also, like, it wasn't the first remake of King Kong either.
Yeah.
And like, there's Japanese interpretation. There's this really not that good 70s movie. And I think like there are like enough generations, and it was popular. I think the original King Kong is more popular than the original Scarface, and that might be a part of it.
Yeah. No, and Peter Jackson almost made it in the 90s too, before Lord of the Rings. And his early version's kind of wonky. I'm glad that he got to do Lord of the Rings first and come back to it.
Teddy is freaking out at me in the comments, and I just want to point out that I'm not even the one that said it first. Teddy, this isn't in all caps. This isn't just some big monkey. It's goddamn King Kong cap. WTF. I didn't even say it first. That was Connor. And then he said, saying I'm not into big monkeys about King Kong is like saying, oh, I'm not into exorcisms. And then he says, is this a bad time to say I've never seen King Kong either?
Just watch King Kong Escapes.
That's fantastic. I'm gonna need to finally sit down and do that. My movie cred is gonna get tarnished making the series because I'm gonna bring up some really good movies, but there's gonna be these other movies these guys bring up. It's like, Cap, how the hell have you seen that? But Connor hasn't seen Planet of the Apes, so I feel okay.
That is true.
Unless he watched it today. Also, Connor, don't pretend like you just threw this on because you felt like it today. We all know that you full on prep for this show in a way you don't. You watch all 5 of your movies, like with the commentaries, we know how you prep for shows.
Look, I got to learn from DJ. Okay, somebody's got to like secretly do all their homework before, and then
you even knew it was the first commentary because the commentary opens with, "Hello, this is the first film commentary."
It's revolutionary. It's never been done before.
Austin, what's your 7?
I was gonna say we're taking way too long, but he picked a gigantic, important classic, and I had to read people screaming at me even though I didn't say the thing. Go ahead. Go ahead, Austin.
Well, my 70s one I'm remiss to not own, but Cap owns and hasn't seen, and he should be ashamed of. And I have to say profanity in advance because I can't say this title without dropping a little bit of profanity.
You can't say Kick-Ass. That's a superhero movie.
No, it's Kick-Ass 2, Cap.
Oh. And the vomit scene returns to my brain.
Exactly. No, some people might use its slave name, which is The Howling 2. Your sister is a werewolf, but really the title is Howling 2, Steerba Werewolf Bitch. That is the correct title of this movie. Uh,
I
which
do own
is
this movie. I do own this
you
movie.
do
The reason I own this
because
movie is because it came in a 3-pack. I don't even remember what the other movie was. Do you? Do you remember what the other movie was?
I don't know what the third one
It
is.
came in a 3-pack of movies starring Christopher Walken. Like we got not even no, they're not all Christopher Walken. What am I talking about?
Christopher Lee.
It must be Christopher Lee. Are they all Christopher Lee movies?
Well, it also has the same director as the movie that you're
Maybe
talking
that's
about
what it
too, so it
is.
might be
Yeah.
that.
So it's a 3-pack. Sorry, I'm this is from like 20 years ago. I that includes The Return of Captain Invincible, which is my favorite like off the beaten path superhero kind of B movie, and it's one of my wife's favorite movies. We talk about it all the time on the channel. Nobody's seen it. No one knows what we're talking about. For the longest time, because it's had a really great recent release, but like a pristine format release, but it used to only be available in this 3-pack with The Howling 2, and that's why I own that. And I think somehow I have 2 copies of it, and I don't even know how that happened, but
Yeah, and as much as I do really like Return of Captain Invincible, Howling 2 is like a godly masterpiece that you could never like recreate in your filmography if you have it. Like it's there, you're never topping that. It is a beautiful movie. It's obviously about werewolves. It's a sequel to The Howling, and like the entire movie we're like the only way to kill werewolves is to stake them in the heart. We got to go to Transylvania where all the werewolves live. it's it's wonderful. Christopher Lee of course is the Van Helsing of the movie, and his name is Stefan, because when you look at Christopher Lee you think Stefan. And he's got a awesome midget henchman. Just everything. Like this is a movie that is completely tailored to me, and it's beautiful. Reb Brown, the original Captain America, in the movie in the '70s movies, he, of course, is the main character, and he's wonderful. Unlike Captain America, they actually know how to use Reb Brown, which is just to have him scream. And Sybil Danning as the Steerba werewolf bitch is a wonderful villain and leads to maybe the funniest not after credits, just the funniest credits of all time, where they play the song and they're like just showing footage of the movie, and they show her ripping her top off like 18 times to the beat of the song. It's really funny. Just god tier movie.
I have not seen The Howling. I've seen The Howling, but I've not seen The Howling
Yeah,
2. But I very recently, finally saw the Halloween episode of Best of the Worst where they do talk about that movie.
I forgot they did that on Best of the
I was
Worst.
just about
Yeah.
to ask if that was the best of the worst movie.
And it was they talk about that credit scene. I was like shook that that was real.
Oh, it's wonderful. And it's sort of like boop, 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 boop.
But then it'll like cut to like reaction shots of like people from the movie going, "Whoa!"
Yeah, it's amazing. And of course, it's got Christopher Lee walking into a club with like these little tiny sunglasses to make him look cool. It's so great. This is on my Spooky Mania picks for this year, by the way, so that Cap can finally watch this movie that he owns.
Are you really gonna make me sit through this?
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, but we don't always have the same definition of great. Like,
Trust me, it is impossible to dislike The Howling 2.
okay. Connor, I get nervous when Austin says "trust me."
Have you seen The Howling?
No.
No, I don't. I'd be very curious to know what you thought of The Howling 2 without having seen the Joe Dante original movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not like super connected.
I always had the impression
but
they were almost completely unrelated movies, but
there's like one small connection. Red Brown is the brother of the main character from the first one.
oh, okay. So watch just like a spin-off movie.
Yeah. And I still need to see the third one because the subtitle is The Marsupials, and that also sounds funny.
I have seen one clip from the marsupials, and I think about it at least once a month. It's very funny.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I need to prioritize that. But what is your number 70, Cap?
Well, pardon me. Peter Jackson's King Kong came up, and there's an actor that, if memory serves, because I've never seen that, is in that movie that is the star of my number 70. My number 70 is School of Rock. School of Rock, the comedy film that introduced me, or didn't really introduce me, but made me kind of fall in love with Jack Black as a comedic actor. He, for a little while, turned into kind of the second coming of Jim Carrey for me. Like, I was a gigantic, of course, Jim Carrey fan of the 90s, and I came to Jack Black kind of late, but I had this little period, maybe a decade and a half ago, where I was going through a lot of his filmography, and I got on a big Jack Black kick, and it was kind of fun, sort of having that Jim Carrey thing again with someone. I did not see this when it came out. It didn't look like a thing that would appeal to me at the time. I was really picky, and I still am, about comedies, and I just never bothered with it. And I don't remember what possessed me to finally watch this. It might have been my sister, because she's a big fan of Jack Black in general, this movie in particular. My sister is a... I don't talk about my sister very much on the channel, I'm just realizing. But my sister Lindsay was a music major, and then a elementary school music teacher, and she played this movie for her class every year, and I came to an event that she had at one point, like a overnight thing that she'd have me come and help out with, and we watched that movie there, and I can't remember if that's the first time I saw it, or if I'd already seen it before that and I was already a fan of it by that point. It's been so long now, I forget. But School of Rock is in, and I should also say that I've kind of like fallen a little bit out of love with Jack Black more recently. Like he is turning into one of those actors that's kind of in too many things that I'm watching, and it's not quite as much fun as it used to be, but like every now and again he comes back and surprises me again. I'm liking the Jumanji series that he's in pretty well. But anyway, and then his casting as R.L. Stine in Goosebumps was kind of a stroke of genius, and I really liked him in that. He had that for whatever reason, it's not coming to me right now. I reviewed it years ago, but he had that movie based on a true story, where he plays a mortician
Bernie.
that murders someone. Yeah, Bernie. That's a great movie. But anyway, that almost made my list. I haven't seen it in a long time. I figured one Jack Black comedy was probably enough for the top 100. But anyway, School of Rock is in that kind of story formula of because there's an odd number of these, right? Of the teacher, the like unlikely teacher that comes in and mentors a class, and through a very specific subject, whatever the class is about, he kind of helps them go through a coming of age story, and they in turn teach him something about himself. And there's another one of those, only a few years actually before School of Rock, that I saw before it, that I like okay, but I like this movie more. It kind of eclipsed it for me, and that's Renaissance Man. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but that's a movie starring why can't I think of people's names today? I'm blanking. Penguin Batman Returns.
Danny
Oh,
DeVito.
Danny
DeVito.
DeVito, yeah. Who is also in those Jumanji movies. And it's interesting how School of Rock is like an odd inversion of Renaissance Man, because Renaissance Man is an English teacher and a intellectual who goes into a military school with a bunch of alleged kind of idiot kids that don't know what they're looking at when they look at Shakespeare. And School of Rock is like the inverse of that, where it's like a prep school, and Jack Black comes in as the idiot teacher that doesn't know what he's talking about, to ultimately teach them about the history of classic rock music and how to play instruments, and has this completely selfish design of getting them all to make a band for him so that he can go win Battle of the Bands and kind of live out his dream of being a famous rock musician. And he's really just this lazy bum that is passionate about music and good at it, and wants to be a rocker, but can't make a living at that, and won't go get off his duff and go do anything. And so he pretends to be his brother, who is a substitute teacher, and gets himself in this prep school class, and it's unbelievable the way he goes through the semester and manages to convince everyone there and the principal that he is actually teaching them the subjects he is supposed to be teaching them. There's a suspension of disbelief that's a little hard to climb when it comes to some of that, but it's a delightful movie. It's really charming. It's kind of impressive how likable Jack Black is as a complete, like, lazy, obnoxious kind of a-hole. And he certainly kind of like finds himself through the course of it to some degree, but I would argue that it's, like I said, kind of a coming of age thing. So it's sort of the kids in the class that change more than he does and kind of find themselves through his interest. And he accidentally kind of stumbles on the way kids most naturally learn. And so, like, that education side of it, and kids, like, discovering, like, who they want to be, but, like, why learning is worthwhile through a like singular interest like that, always really resonated with me. And then just how much passion that movie has for its subject, and all of the kind of throwback classic rock stuff is really fun. And I got to see a live performance of the School of Rock musical a couple of years ago at one of the big amphitheaters here in town, Sandstone or somewhere, I forget, and with Jason, and that was great. But
Nice.
yeah, but that's my
I
number 70.
I really like School of Rock. That's actually Richard Linklater's first studio film, I think. He was an
Is it?
independent guy, I think. Yeah. It's interesting that you like Bernie, because that's also Richard Linklater and Jack Black.
Oh, I
And
didn't even remember that was the same director.
yeah, no, he's not like he doesn't have like a super flashy style. He kind of does different things from time to time, but they've only collaborated one other time, but that's Jack Black in voiceover, so it's not really the same thing. But
Oh, okay.
um no, School of Rock is so good, and I love how that movie also kind of looks at adults, where like it kind of has like this 90s kind of Gen X thing, where I guess you could almost look at like The Big Lebowski is also kind of like this, where kind of the loser bum kind of gets it in a way that like some other people just are, other adults are like, maybe they're trying to find meaning, or they're trying to look for something, and like, how do we save the day? And it's like the stoner bum is gonna is gonna save the day, kind of a thing. That's kind of like a 90s kind of Gen X thing, but I think what really makes that
Yeah,
work
we're
is
like
how,
these
like,
stuffy adults need to remember what it was like to be kids.
well, yeah, and like, because you have these kids that have dreams and hopes and aspirations, and then like I really like the relationship Jack Black has with like the principal, played by Joan
Yeah.
Cusack, where he also has like these dreams and ambitions that are like kind of going unfulfilled, and she's also like one of these kids, and it's like that that's like a pretty consistent part of the human experience for a lot of people. And I don't know, like all the rock and roll, you gotta break the rules, fight the man, like that kind of stuff can be really cringe.
Mhm.
But what makes it not cringe in School of Rock is that Jack Black and Richard Linklater, they believe that. And that's why, like you said, like you love the passion that the movie has for its subject. Like it commits to itself in such a like endearing way.
Yeah, like I feel like it's a pretty standard studio comedy, just done really, really well.
Yeah.
It's really great. I like that movie a lot too. I
I
don't
mean,
maybe
you're
like a
right. It's
year.
pretty formulaic, but it's really satisfying by the end, where you're like, I know where all this is going, and I don't care. Like, it
It's
needs
the
to go
ultimate
where you
like
expect it
execution
to.
matters
Yeah.
kind of movie. Yeah.
Yeah, like the concert they
No.
play at the end, I don't know how anybody isn't like getting really into that and feeling something. Like when you get to that last scene. It's
Oh,
also
it's great.
hilariously the same ending as Howard the Duck. I just want to throw that out there.
It's also the
That's
same
why it's
ending as
good.
Rocky, though, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Maybe like a year after I moved out of my mom's house, she called me and she was like, "Hey, you're not seeing your like youngest brother enough. I'm gonna drop him off and you're gonna watch him for the next like 24 hours." And I was like, I don't know what to do. Like he's super picky. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do with him. Like what I'm gonna feed him. So I literally I had a box of chicken strips and I cooked all of them and I would just like every couple of hours give him like 3 and be like, here you go, you're still good. And he watched the Nickelodeon sitcom School of Rock season 1 on loop the entire time I watched him, and I'm like, oh my god, this is driving me insane. And at some point I'm like, can we at least watch the School of Rock movie? Like it's good. And he's like, no, I only like the show.
What?
Like, oh
I forgot
god,
that even existed.
it's not good. But School of Rock the movie is really good.
You get to the end of that movie and they play their one song, and then all the parents that want to throw Jack Black in jail suddenly are yelling encore, and they play the um one of the kind of the lead kids song that he wrote earlier in the movie, and they're not intending to do that, and yet they've got like all of this choreography figured out. They have like all the lighting cues figured out, and like that's that's the most indicative thing I could think of, Austin, of what you said about it being like a studio film done really well. Like that's how you always do that in a studio film. Is like
It's
it's
go ninja, go ninja,
completely
go.
it's completely
You're ready to go.
yes yeah it's completely improvised, and yet they clearly have been rehearsing for days.
And the music in that's genuinely really good.
It is.
Yeah.
And that original song is really good.
it is.
And
Yeah,
I should have mentioned this, but that's one of those movies that just lives and dies by its child cast. And like, it's hard enough to cast that one really great kid actor. You know, like Iron Man 3 doesn't work if you don't have that kid. Like Logan does not work if you don't have that kid. This movie, you need a class of like 25 kids that are all decent actors. And like,
Yeah,
it all works.
It's I don't know, like yeah, you said that. I think like what kind of helps combat the lack of believability is it's like a studio comedy, so you kind of know like you're willing to give up your sense of suspension of disbelief to a degree. But also like the character journey of it's pretty cool because like he is being a little selfish in terms of like I'm just trying to get my thing, but he does impart like legitimate wisdom and like good leadership skills of like, okay, these people don't like singing. Well, what are you good at? Well, are you good at like lighting? Are you good at like, helping out with like the techie stuff, right? And like he finds roles for them all to be good at. And it is like surprisingly good at demonstrating what good leadership is and like how education should go. And like it's really, I don't know, it's a
Yeah,
good
well, and
movie.
all that
And
mentorship is completely on accident because he's got this, like you said, really selfish goal at the center of it, and so he's ostensibly only doing all of that so that he can get his concert to happen. But then I don't know if it's in the character on paper, or if it's just that Jack Black is really endearing in how he's interacting with those kids. But like under the surface of it, he's um he's sympathetic to them, and seems to care enough eventually but it's that's not his primary motivation. I think a lot of that comes through with just Jack Black is good with kids.
Yeah.
I bet that's a darker movie on paper, like slightly.
Yeah, maybe, but I do know that like I saw an interview with Richard Linklater where he was saying like at the end they win the battle of the bands, and he's like, "Nah, it's not gonna happen." Like, we're changing that.
Teddy, okay, well then never mind. I'm probably wrong. It probably isn't. Teddy, $10 super chat. That movie where Jack Black kidnapped a bunch of kids and everyone allowed it because goddamn they rocked so hard.
Yeah.
That's a way better synopsis than what I gave. Einstein Jet, $5 super chat. I haven't seen that since I was a kid. The only thing I remember is Jack Black saying, "We are a school of rock."
Say that again.
Thanks for the super chats, guys. Nicholas Bodo, if Cat Black's Jack Black, I would highly recommend the Kung Fu Panda films, at least the first three. I've seen the first one. I finally watched that several years ago. Because I wasn't like the biggest DreamWorks person, and I just never bothered with those. And it's good. I've never seen the sequels, but
Yeah, I've also only seen one. One almost made my list. It was in my runner-ups, but I really
cool.
like that movie a lot.
I should see it again. I really enjoyed it. I should show it to my kids because Jason's seen it, but the rest of them haven't.
Yeah, I've never seen Kung Fu Panda.
We'll do a non-Disney mania for animated films, and then we'll throw that in there.
By
Teddy
DreamWorks.
puts in another $10. Oh, we have to do DreamWorks mania. Okay,
Yeah.
Teddy, $10 super chat. It's an example of the idea that the problem isn't being formulaic in itself. You can be formulaic as hell, and you still just have to do the formula really well. Yeah, to a degree, that's true. I mean, it's very much that you can make anything work. I do think time and place matters. I think like a really executed formulaic movie that's the same thing everybody's has been making is gonna look not as good as it is, if that makes any sense. You know, some like sometimes I it helps that the last of those that I can think of was a few years before that. I mean, it wouldn't make the movie not good, but it might have gotten a little bit more buried. You know what I mean? Like if that was yet another rom-com right then.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That was the same year as Bruce Almighty, which I saw several times in the theater and just
Whoa.
completely slept on School of Rock. And it's kind of wild to think of that because that's such a in a lot of people's minds like really classic comedy at this point, and it feels older than that to me. Like I always think of School of Rock as like 97, 98, but it's 03.
I'm hungover. That means you're drunk. No, it means I was drunk yesterday.
Okay, we have got to move on. Thanks everybody for super chats and comments. Now it's time for number 69.
69 is keeping the
69.
theme. 69. The next, I'm keeping the theme going. Godzilla, the original Godzilla.
You put that in King Kong right back to back?
I did, yeah. I have Godzilla versus Monster Zero, King Kong, and then the original.
Oh, no, yeah, a trilogy of them even.
Yeah, I just keeping this truck going.
I hope it's your next 8.
See, it's a weird thing because like I didn't know what order to put these 3 in, so I figured I should just put them in as a block because it's like if I look at King Kong and Godzilla, it's like I think I enjoy King Kong more than the original Godzilla, but I'm more of a Godzilla guy than a King Kong guy. So it's like I think this might be technically a better movie as well. But then it's like I think I even enjoy Godzilla versus Monster Zero more than King Kong and Godzilla. But am I really going to sit here and say that that's a better movie than the original King Kong and original Godzilla? Like, no. Like,
yeah, Braden just wrote, you put them in the correct order.
Yeah, so I just decided to kind of go this way. So I'll say first, like a personal history with Godzilla. Like everyone likes this movie. Everyone knows this movie works. It kind of does play into what I was talking about with King Kong, which is the initial plan here was honestly kind of cynical, like at least cynical just in terms of the way any workman, job movie is, which is a producer in Japan was like, I saw this Beast from 20,000 Fathoms or 50,000 Fathoms movie. Let's just make a remake of that. And then he gave it to Ishiro Honda, and Ishiro Honda said, let's make this a little better than just a crummy remake of some American monster movie. And then he made Godzilla. And there's a lot in here about post-war Japan, national identity, et cetera, et cetera. And that's in here. But I'm not going to pretend like this movie is not forged in the fires of humble B movie monster movie making. Like it is. Like first and foremost, it is just trying to be that. And that it also happens to have all this other stuff in it, loaded imagery like aiming a Geiger counter at a child and like they're radiated. Like the new generation of Japan is born out of radiation. Like killer images. Like there's great stuff here, but it does function very well as a pretty eerie kind of honest, straight-faced monster movie. Um, it's also pretty schlocky in ways that are like not self-conscious at all, and I think that ends up playing into the movie's favor as well. This is probably like my earliest white whale. For anyone who doesn't know, the original Japanese Godzilla movie was not available in North America until 2007, at least in any official capacity. And so, like, if you're like me and you grew up without like an internet connection and you just had the library and movie rental stores, you only had Godzilla King of the Monsters, the Americanized version with like Raymond Burr inserted into the original Godzilla movie. Now, I had to learn to love that movie. I have not seen it in a very long time, but boy, do my brother and I quote it all the time because that movie is in our DNA. I'm so sorry, Emmy. So sorry. Or sorry, Mo. I screwed it up. How do I say? I don't know, Emiko. I don't know. But yeah. So this movie was finally made available in a DVD box set, it was like discovering the Ark of the Covenant or something. It was like everything I wanted it to be. And yeah, so for a long time I was that kid who was like, this movie is actually like a genius, brilliant thing. And then I watched it years later. I'm like, it's also just a fun, kind of corny monster movie. And it's a very good one. But it also does have all this other stuff in it as well. It's great. Everyone knows it's great. If you have not seen the original Godzilla, how did you discover this channel? Like, what are you doing here? I'm just kind of curious if you happen to be that person, but check it out. It's now very widely available. It's in the Criterion Collection on 4K even. So get out there, buy it, watch it. Godzilla.
Yeah, I think of that and RoboCop in a similar place where they're both B movies executed so well, but you can kind of watch it both as a smarter sci-fi or just as a B movie.
Mhm.
Obviously, RoboCop's like got a lot more polish to it. They are made decades apart, but
Yeah, I mean, I
Different
see
industries at different time.
yeah, exactly.
I see the original Godzilla. I'm gonna be the highfalutin pretentious jerk face here with this because I've never seen Godzilla as really a B movie. I've seen it in your points are well taken, Connor. But like I maybe some of it is just as old as it is, and made in Japan. I always and as dead cold serious as that thing takes itself. I've always watched it as well, it's not really a B movie. It's a B movie if we make it here, but that's probably about the best they could do in Japan. And so, like, I never really thought about it that way. But I see the '54 Godzilla as less of a satire and more of like a sci-fi parable.
Yeah, that's a
Mhm,
good way to put it.
definitely. That movie also looks really great, and I'm tired of it getting dogged on for having suitmation.
Yeah,
Like
me
even
too.
I think it was like Variety or someone put out like a top 100 best horror films of all time list, and they had Godzilla on there, and it was like, if you can get past the stupid suits, it's a really good
Mm.
horror picture.
No,
It's
that's a
like
part of the
no,
charm. Like, come on.
and it's so just
And how else
so
are you
well
gonna do
done.
it
Like
back then?
yeah, No, it's interesting because they do it because they couldn't afford to do stop motion. But like, as much as I love stop motion, and I think there's a lot of charm to it, Suitmation holds up better than stop motion does.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
like both. Like, I'm not dogging stop motion.
I don't know, like it does, like it's similar to like
Are you
other
saying
movies
Ed
that
209 needed to somehow be a guy in a suit? Because I don't even know how you do that.
Ed 209's perfect. I would change nothing about him. He's my favorite part of RoboCop.
I'm sorry, Connor.
beautiful. No, I was just saying like what was I saying? It's not important, but it's I love Godzilla. It's wonderful. Oh yeah, it has like that kind of seeing the handcrafted, like you know how they did it. You can see the toys, you can see the strings. Like to me, that's like there's something really exciting about that. Like it does motivate. Like I think that is like one of those things where at an early age that motivated me to want to make my own movies. You know, it's like when you see people make their Lego movies on YouTube as a kid. It's like, oh, I know how they did that, and knowing how they did that makes you want to do it. You know, it weirdly becomes a part of the immersion is kind of like knowing that it's fake, but like the artifice of it is just like I don't know. I think there's a reason why a lot of people who get into the industry, a lot of the early movies that they loved were kaiju movies from Japan. Like I don't know, like I watched Mothra a year or so ago, and I was just like, man, the artifice is beautiful. Like I want to see Wes Anderson make a kaiju movie. It's like
That'd be so cool.
it would be really cool. Yeah.
That movie has also got one of the great memorable themes of all time.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And I was so happy when it came back in -1. -1?
Oh
Yeah.
yes. It's beautiful. It brought a tear to my
Yeah,
eyes.
that got me.
I listened to a
It
lot
feels
of.
like the perfect 54 sequel that is not actually a sequel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I listen to a lot of Godzilla music in my car, and because it's got like the thing where you press the button and you can ask it to play something. And my favorite thing about that in my car is that it can't pronounce Akira Ifukube. It always says Akira Ify Cube, and that's one of the best parts about listening to Godzilla music in my car.
What's your 69? Listen.
Well, let me
My
read these super
69
chats
is
real quick before
yeah.
we move on, if we can. Beck Studios put in collectively a $10 super chat, with two $5 to get all these words in. Taking the Rex that were free on YouTube, I tried Connor's 78 and Cap 79. Connor, what was your 78?
It
Mine
was
was
Autumn Sonata.
okay. Mine was Man from Earth, and he says as a double feature, he did that. Quite an experience, oddly comparable cinematically and introspective. But then I saw Austin's 98. What was your 98, Austin?
So I don't even have to look because he told me about this triple feature. It was Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter.
That's what I figured. He said, "Let me tell you that is triple feature Whiplash. Very different Jesuses, or are they?" And I just want to imagine that the guy that is the like inspiration for or believed to be the historical Jesus in the movie I told you guys about, Man from Earth, is also somehow the Jesus in the movie that Austin described.
Hopefully, would that Jesus protect the lesbians? He probably would.
He probably would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did want to mention. I forgot to mention this at the top of the stream, but I've had Bag watched Autumn Sonata and let me know about that, and then Robert actually reached out to me and told me that he watched High Plains Drifter on my recommendation. That
He
means a
told me
lot
about
to
that
me. Like,
too.
that's really cool,
He
guys.
said, "Cap, you gotta
happy to
watch it."
know that it's heartening to know that people out there are watching this and discovering new things. So that's cool.
No, I'm excited that I got Bag to watch Man from Earth, because that is now the second person that has seen the Man from Earth.
And he's probably like the fifth person to have seen Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, and all have seen it because I've shown it to them.
Actually,
There
what I
is a
said,
Blu-ray of that. It's
actually,
out
what I
of
said's
Oh,
not
print.
true
yeah.
because that Man from Earth sequel only happened because of a Kickstarter. So I guess a few more people have seen that, but
Maybe 2 people kickstarted it. Just put in a lot of money.
I didn't know about it until like 10 years after it got made. So maybe not that long.
My
I can't
number
remember.
69
Yes, sir.
is also a movie everyone's talked about, and it's like, what else is there to say? It's Pulp Fiction. That was not a swerve. That is genuinely like.
I look. You keep us on our toes. My wife and I almost watched that over the weekend. We've been doing this thing occasionally where instead of picking a movie and showing it to each other, we'll pick like 4 or 5, and then the other person picks out of those 4 or 5. And I did that with Sarah, and one of them was Pulp Fiction, and she almost picked that. But Austin, she ended up picking the second Sherlock Holmes because she hadn't seen that yet, and so
Oh,
I
cool.
finally showed her that, and as predicted, she adored it. But
I was gonna say, hopefully she wasn't like, that sucked.
no, she was so happy with the way they handled Moriarty.
I'm glad.
Anyway,
But
sorry.
yeah, that's okay. No, Pulp Fiction. I think I was like the exact right age to see that movie, where I was like just starting to get into movies. I was probably like 11 or 12 when I saw that. My dad showed it to me. He kind of picked his favorite Tarantino films. I think like he showed me that. He showed me Jackie Brown, Reservoir Dogs. I think the Kill Bills. I can't remember, but just like a couple of them. And I was like that exact right age to be like, oh, this is the most amazing thing ever. And yeah, I still really like Pulp Fiction. I think it's really good. Um, Samuel L. Jackson, of course, is wonderful in it. It's got one of the best Christopher Walken performances of all time. Uh, one of my friends did that as a monologue in our drama class, and it was a very legendary moment for us getting to practice that. And yeah, it's very much just like a comfort movie, and I actually haven't gone back to it in a few years at this point. But that was a movie I watched a lot growing up, and I said it feels like obligatory, but at the same time, it's really good.
Great, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have a favorite episode or like chapter?
Uh, it's probably this is maybe too revealing about myself, but it's probably when they're dealing with the robbers at the end, specifically because I used to work at a job where I used to have to go to different banks for the company I worked with, and I was like, oh man, one day I'm gonna walk in while it's being robbed, and I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be awesome. I also, up until recently, because it fell apart, had the Bad Mother Effer wallet that was just my wallet for like the last probably like 8 years, and I'm
Nice.
kind of sad that it's gone, but such is life.
I think the Gold Watch episode is my favorite. It's so
It's
awesome.
yeah, 100%. It's up there. It's so good.
I need to finally go back to that, which is why I put that on that list because that's one of those movies that, like, is obligatory. Like you said, my wife should finally see it, but also I've only seen it maybe twice, and it's been forever. Uh, but man, he's good at nonlinear. Like that's the main
It's
thing I remember about it is just how impressive uh the out of order the sequences are, and you can still keep up with it. It feels like the way the correct order to put the scenes in.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we've seen
I
lots of
don't-
movies that have tried that, partly because of Pulp Fiction, that have failed miserably.
yeah, it was a whole genre unto itself. Is the Pulp Fiction ripoff movie.
Yep. Even just trying to do the dialogue from Pulp Fiction.
Um,
That was
yeah,
like
no,
the
I don't
John
know.
Wick of its day, right? Where like
Yeah,
for a decade after, and everybody wants to be Pulp Fiction and can't
And
pull
if
it
you're
off
not
quite
Pulp
as
Fiction,
well.
you're Clerks.
yeah. I don't know if you've seen this quote or this interview clip, Cap, but there's this interesting interview with Quentin Tarantino where he's being asked about like, oh, your style is like, out of order and non-linear, and he was like, but if it was a book, nobody would be talking about how unique it is. Like, so he
Yeah.
kind of thought about it as like that's the way he writes, is he thinks it, because he did a lot of reading, and so like that's what he was inspired by, was like the structure of like a novel
Well, and
and stuff.
there's such a literary quality to what he does.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that's really come out as he's gotten older. Like I feel like his last couple of films really have that
Austin, I was gonna say I've not
novel
seen
feel.
his whole library, and like I need to see the Kill Bill. I need to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like some of these things I've just never gotten around to. But of the Tarantino movies I've seen, the most literary to me was Django Unchained. Like that felt like a novel.
Oh, okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah, no, that I could see that. I think Inglourious Bastards really has that. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he just made into a novel after that movie came out,
Oh, really?
which I haven't read yet. My dad read it, and he told me it's. He was like, it's weird how there are things in the movie that are more important than they are in the book. Where in the book it's like more in passing, and I'm kind of interested to see what that's like.
I thought I heard him talk about how like he loved reading novelizations of films as a kid, because it's like they didn't really have like the home video boom yet, and so a lot of
Mhm.
ways people would get the experience of watching the movie again would be to read the novelization, but the novelization is that writer's sort of take on that material, and so he kind of wanted to do that where it's like not exactly the movie, it's a more literary version of the movie that you kind of go in,
Yeah, but if he
which
was
kind
going
of
to do
Yeah,
that in
that's
the
really
purest
interesting.
way, if when he turns it into a novel, into a novelization, you should have somebody else write it. You know, because like it's through the lens of another writer.
Well, hey, maybe Quentin Tarantino, the writer, and Quentin Tarantino, the filmmaker, are different Quentin
No, you
Tarantinos.
know, it's entirely possible. Or he ghost wrote it.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I don't know. Pulp Fiction's a great movie. What is your number 69, Cap?
Well, my number 69 came out in 2014. This was one that I was initially kind of on the fence about even putting on the list, and then it ended up a bit higher than I expected because I realized just how much it kind of resonated with me on a sort of professional level. My 69 is Favreau's Chef, where John Favreau uh, buys a food truck because he screws up his career and as a professional chef, and screams at a film critic, and then can't get work and has to d- and has to resort to a food truck and then makes that like the most popular possible thing. And that whole thing was kind of a catharsis for him in making studio films so long, and having to make what he felt like were a lot of creative compromises in making things like, but not limited to, the Iron Man movies, but especially Iron Man 2. And that's, I think, the very next thing he does. And so he leaves the studio stuff for a minute, and he makes this little $11 million movie. It actually did pretty well at the box office for what it is. I had never looked that up. I didn't realize that it did 50 against an $11 million budget, which is kind of amazing. It's a really good father son story. It's about, and part of the reason this resonated with me so much, so I said a professional level, I guess a personal and a professional level, because on the professional level it's a lot about criticism and how that affects the work you do, and I how you might make compromises in order to appease the people that can get you business, and you'll also do that because of sometimes the people you work for that don't want you to take any risks and force you into a box and don't let you be creative. and some of the reason they're doing that is also because of the criticism thing, and so that ends up kind of being a dog chasing its tail. Uh, but it's also about workaholism, and I don't think I realized until I saw this a second time how much that kind of resonated with me, because that was just my dad, who both worked all the time, and was was always like really passionate about what he did, and I felt like he wasn't alive and wasn't doing what he needed to do unless he was spending like 80 hours a week at work. But he was also a restaurateur, and so I grew up in like he was he was a manager for steakhouses and things. And even when he got his own businesses later and was and owned flea markets, we were out of food, but he still had that same kind of drive. And now he had his own business, so it was even there was even a lot more at stake, right? And I so like I saw a lot of my dad in this character. This idea that you would you chase your dream, throw yourself so much into your work that you kind of forget about some of the most important things in your life, and you got to kind of find some kind of a balance. And so he ultimately finds contentment and, yes, a lot of success, but that's almost secondary finally, in the food truck, which he does with his son. And I think that's a lot of why it was uh I ended up relating to the thing as much as I did. My only major issue with Chef was always, I don't know why it has to be a rated R film. And I appreciate that Favreau like just made the movie he wanted to make completely uncompromised, because that was the point of the thing. Is that like through telling the story about a guy who's not allowed to uh, do his creative art exactly the way he wants to without anybody telling him what to do. He tells that story exactly that way, and so I really appreciate that. And yet I kind of wish I could show it to my kids, because of the themes and because of what it's about. And it's not the kind of movie that, in order to tell the story it's telling, really needs some of the profane language and stuff. And like, it's not over the top, but it's enough that, yeah, I can't really show it to like a 9 or a 10-year-old. Like I kind of wish I could. It's really the only issue that I had with that movie. And like I said with School of Rock, it also just has a lot of passion for its subject. Like Jon Favreau went and studied with a real chef and went to culinary school and worked on it for months. Like his research was not just reading up on the subject, but was like getting in there and doing it. And then apparently after that, he discovered he was actually good at it. So like he did it so that he could play this character, and then he's like incorporated into his personal life, and he cooks all the time now. And I just it's a really neat kind of personal project, and a singular vision from one guy, where he is used to being really collaborative in all of his projects. And then sadly he got even more inundated in the studio system after this. And I'd kind of love to see like a second attempt at something like this. Not a Chef 2, but like another just going off and making his own singular movie again after uh he's been engrossed in Disney for as long as he has. Because now he's had not just a lot of like what I might consider compromised or like uninspired studio films, but like bad movies. And it's kind of sad. Like, I know people think Iron Man 2 is my favorite superhero movie. It's not, but it's and it's not great, and it's not. And at one time, I considered it one of the kind of bottom of the MCU movies. I Oh my God, that doesn't hold a candle to like his Lion King, and like some of the other things that he's done for that studio. And like he's done some other good things for them too. Not recently, but like his Jungle Book, which is like one of the only good live action Disney movies. So yeah, I kind of hope at some point he kind of jumps ship from them, at least for a minute, and makes something like this again.
We'll get Chef 2, where he now works at a dessert restaurant, whose owner always wears a cowboy hat and really craves cannoli, and he's like, just make a lot of that.
That's really funny.
I thought of that pun like 2 minutes ago. I'm like, I need to weave that in.
Tom Segura with a cowboy hat, and but no, I've actually never seen Chef. I rented that from a video store, actually at the beginning of 2015, to try to catch up on 2014 movies. I rented that and Under the Skin, and I watched neither of them. So I ran out of time, but I've always meant to watch it. I didn't realize that there was all that stuff going on in it. That's really cool. I should
Yeah.
finally watch that.
And then
I
that
gotta
rental
say,
store, that Connor's talking about shut down, and he still has those movies in his possession, and he's still never watched them.
Was it specifically a
no,
Johansson double feature, or was that on accident?
yeah.
That's great.
What do you want me to say? I was born in 95. No, no, that video store is actually still there. And that's actually
What?
how I've been renting the scary movies. I don't have the guts to go up there and rent Epic Movie. That's where I draw the line.
And you don't with these scary movies, you're like, I don't want it on like a digital platform that they know that I've watched these.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know. There's like, I'll be watching the Jackass movies next. It's like, if I'm not getting a DVD of Jackass from a video rental store, like if I have that option and I don't do it, then what am I doing? You know? Like,
Oh yeah.
No, I'm insanely jealous, actually, that there's a place where you can go, like, drive and rent things.
well, they're mostly now a coffee and ice cream place for obvious reasons. But hey, if you come and visit Portland, we can hit it up. It's a cool spot.
One
Yeah,
of
the
these
few I've
days.
seen have had to move to that, which makes sense. But like, it's cool that some of them have been able to still remain.
I mean, have they kept their selection,
Yeah.
or have they dwindled it down pretty hard?
Well, they used to have video games. They got rid of that, and then I think they expanded the coffee and ice cream side of things. I think that their selection is still pretty good, but I think what happens is they just keep fewer titles for their library. So like they'll have a bunch of new release stuff, and then they'll just get rid of those copies. So
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I've seen as well.
Okay, we move on now to 68.
all right, 68. One of the all-time great film sequels, if you ask me, and maybe my favorite Western. It definitely is being, going back to what we said at the beginning of the stream, held up by one of my favorite movie characters ever, and that is Sergio Leone's For a Few Dollars More. I don't like that stupid ratings badge in the corner, so I'll just put that up there.
That is the most
So
OCD thing I've ever seen.
I know. I'm sorry, guys.
No, that was awesome.
That's the second of the Dollars trilogy,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Okay, I
that
always
is
get the
the-
first two mixed up, so I'm like, I think that's the second one.
So I gotta say, like all of these movies, so MGM United Artists handled the marketing in North America, and so they're the ones that like gave them the taglines, and all of the taglines are awesome. The For the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which might be the best one. I've only seen it one time, so I'm sorry, everybody. It's not going to be on this list. But that one is just a straight up lie. It says, for three men, the Civil War wasn't hell, it was practice. What a killer tagline. The movie takes place during the Civil War, though. So, but that tagline rules. And this movie's tagline is awesome. It's the man with no name is back. The man in black is waiting for a few dollars more. So this
Well, that like sounds accurate. I don't know how that could be a lie.
it is accurate.
He wears
So
red the
basically-
whole film.
I'll say that the reason this functions so well as a sequel is you get the first movie, A Fistful of Dollars, which is a pretty blatant ripoff, like beat for beat ripoff of the Kurosawa film Yojimbo. But it's a spaghetti western with Clint Eastwood. And that being said, like Sergio Leone's no slouch. That guy knows how to make a movie. So it's an entertaining, good enough movie. But what it does in being a remake of Yojimbo is basically just has the main character show up and just run the table the whole time. You watch that movie, and the only way you can walk away from it is thinking, yeah, that Clint Eastwood Man with No Name guy, the baddest guy in the West. No one comes close. The opening sequence of this immediately establishes the stakes. It raises the bar, where we are introduced to the love of my life, Colonel Douglas Mortimer, played by Lee Van Cleef. He is a bounty hunter in the Old West, and he just takes out a bounty, and you go, this guy in like 5 minutes might be better than the Man with No Name. Like, this guy is business. And then Colonel Mortimer, and the Man with No Name, Clint Eastwood, they find themselves trying to go after the same bounty, who is the head of a gang. And so what's so great about For a Few Dollars More is that there is so much movie in this movie. It's a like the Mortimer is such a great foil for whatever his name in this movie is, the Man with No Name. He's a great foil. They are great kind of like mirrors for one another. Um, but it becomes a gang infiltration movie, and then it becomes a heist movie, and then it becomes like this like uneasy alliance. It's a rivalry between the two. Like, it's so cool. There's so much going on, and the visual storytelling is great. I enjoy Fistful of Dollars, but this movie is so obviously an improvement in every way. Is it a little slow in the middle? Yeah. But the music by Ennio Morricone is it like makes my ears like euphoric. Like, this is going to be the music that greets me at the gates of heaven, if I ever make it. And look, here's the thing. This might is this
Shouldn't
the
it be
best
your
movie that's ever?
number one?
I mean, it could be. It's maybe my favorite Western ever made. But is this the best movie ever made? No. But it's the only movie to ever feature the character Colonel Douglas Mortimer. So that's a better reason for it to exist than it so it gives it a leg up on most movies that are made. So this movie rocks. I love it. Arrow's 4K restoration is amazing. The artwork on the back is awesome.
Yeah, look at
It's
that.
beautiful. I've still never seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I've seen the first two of the trilogy. So one of my friends showed me one, and he was like, "This is, like I think he said the first of the Dollars trilogy," and I was like, "This is amazing. It's like such a cool movie." And then a couple years later, I was like, "You know what? I really need to watch that whole trilogy. I'm gonna go back to it." And I'm gonna watch through all three of them. And then I watched the first one, and I was like, "This is not the movie I watched that other time." But this is also really good, and that was how I learned out. I watched the second one, which is the one that you picked, and it is a wonderful movie. It's been a long time, so neither of them made my list because I've only seen them once and a long time ago. But
Yeah,
eventually, I really need to watch that trilogy just together.
you should. It's awesome.
I can't think of an example, but I know I've done that. Right, where like you watch a sequel, then you find out later, wait a minute, that's a sequel. There's another movie before this. But I can't think of what, but I know I've done that.
You're like, wait a minute, this is the first Back to the Future? That's why I watched the second one first. Okay.
Austin, that happened to me. I was like a kid, and my cousin, and when I was visiting her, was like, "Let's watch Back to the Future." It was just like in the middle of the second one. She's like, "This is Back to the Future too," and I'm like, "I've never seen the first one." It's fine. You don't need to see the first one. And you were watching this movie where they're just in the events of the first movie, and I'm like, "I guess this is just the movie."
Well, that must have been a weird experience when you finally watched the first movie. You were like, well, I know all the beats in the third act now, except Marty's not going to show up and mess up certain parts of it. You're gonna be like, where is my favorite line? I think he stole his wallet. Why is that not in here?
My dad once like brought me to his family cottage, and he was like, "I went to the video store. I got us 2 movies for this weekend: Bridge to Terabithia and Back to the Future 3." Like I'd never seen any of the Back to the Futures, so I'm like,
Why
I
do
don't
you
want to
guys
watch
both have
any
this
of these.
story?
My number 68 is also a huge classic. It is Demons #1, which is also an Italian movie.
I've never heard of
So
that.
there is some sort of connection. This is Italian Evil Dead, basically. It takes place in a theater, and it is completely glorious. 100% recommend. Basically, a bunch of people get like a free ticket to see this movie, which is this evil, creepy mask, and then it starts to turn people into demons, and they're basically just the Deadites from Evil Dead, and they rough up the theater, and it is just like balls to the walls the entire time, and we have like this cutaway subplot that takes it like a really long time for you to even know why it's connected, and it's still awesome. We have like these criminals in a car, and they're driving around, and they've got a Coke can full of cocaine, with it like sprinkling it out of their Coke can and snorting it, and it's beautiful. um I also like Demons 2 because this is both of them, but I don't think it's as good. But the first one is a masterpiece.
Um, so I remember you and some of the guys in the Discord watch partied that. And you guys were like, "Demons, demons," and I'm like, "Oh, I guess I got to watch this Demons movie." And my brother, completely independently, had no knowledge, went to a rep screening while he was like in LA. He was living in LA. He's like, "Oh, I'll go see this movie Demons." And he walked. He's like, "Connor, have you seen this movie Demons? It's freaking awesome."
That's
I
the
still
only
have not.
reaction. It's one of those movies where, like you said just now, Connor, not the best movie of all time, but with this, it is while you're watching it.
Hmm.
It's one of
I love that
those.
feeling. I love that feeling.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah.
That's one of my favorite, just like generic reviews. Is it's not the best thing ever, but it is while you're watching it.
Yeah. And then you walk away and
We've
you're
all
like,
had that
okay,
experience.
there's movies that are better, technically. Not a ton, but
My
but yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Cap. I was just about to say, what is your
Oh,
68?
well, I'll tell you. My 68 is the ultimate buddy cop film. It's Lethal Weapon, which feels like kind of an obligatory pick, but like how do I not include Lethal Weapon? I will say Die Hard didn't quite make my list. I like Die Hard okay. Lethal Weapon is, those are always kind of compared because they come out at similar times. They're in a similar genre, although obviously one is more of a comedy than the other, and one is more of a thriller. But I kind of feel like this is one of those, like, there's two kinds of people in the world, like the Lethal Weapon people and the and the Die Hard people, and also, if memory serves, I think they take place at Christmas time, or is it the second one that's Christmas with
No,
Lethal
they both
Weapon?
do.
I think they both do. I think maybe
Yep.
the second one also does, but maybe I haven't seen it in a long time. I forget. Um, but it's Richard Donner proving how insanely versatile he was as a director. It's kind of Shane Black's first big outing as a writer, and then of course he'll direct later. It's interesting how similar Donner's directing style in this ends up being to what Shane Black will do later. Because if you told me that Shane Black directed this back then, I might have believed you. Like they have somewhat similar styles. Uh, and but the main draw for this, of course, is just the dynamic between these two guys, Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, who before I would imagine. I mean, obviously, I was like 3 years old when this came out, but I imagine if you'd seen their work separately and you found out they were going to be a buddy cop duo, you'd be like, I just don't see it. Like how do those two guys go together? What exactly is that dynamic? And it's that classic thing where they, one is older, one is younger, one is cynical, one is more optimistic, and they kind of take that the formula to the nines because one is not just cynical but wants to commit suicide, and the other one is kind of holding him back from the brink the whole time. And like you've got the guy that lives in the sad, pathetic trailer, and the guy that's got it all together and has a good family life. Maybe my favorite scene is, and I haven't seen this in a long time, but just with what I'm remembering in the moment, is the scene with them all at Danny Glover's house, and they're they're just really charming and fun together. And I don't end up liking a lot of buddy cop things because of the typical, like, oh, they hate each other from the very beginning, and then as time goes on they kind of finally find the endearing parts, and the things that like remind themselves of each other, or like they'll not like each other because they see too much of themselves in the person in the first place. We also do that quite a bit, and Lethal Weapon has like maybe a little bit of that, but I always appreciate that they kind of like come to an understanding and start to appreciate each other, pretty early, and they're both so interesting and charming. How does that not happen? And then the action in it, there's this nice juxtaposition where there's a lot of believability both in the relationship and in the action. But so like it's fun and in some ways kind of heightened, but the action's really visceral in it. So like you always believe that like people can get hurt in that world, and like bad things can happen to people, even though it is on, like I said, a bit of a heightened level. But anyway, I need to see that again. It's probably been 10 years.
And then it ends with the funniest fist fight where Danny Glover is like, "All you cops, hold off! Mel Gibson's got this." And he kicks the bad guy's ass. It's awesome.
I forgot about that.
I love Lethal Weapon. I can't remember if it made my list offhand, but I really love that movie.
He's like, oh, he
And
should have, but I forgot to do it.
no, and like 4 years ago, I think like around there, I was at my family Christmas, and we're all watching different movies, and I was like, I love Lethal Weapon. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. We should watch that. And because it's Christmas in LA, so there's no snow. There's not a lot of talk of Christmas because it's a detective crime movie.
Yep.
And my uncle's wife like turned my entire family on it. Like, this isn't a Christmas movie. Like, I can't believe Austin made us watch this. This is ridiculous. And like the entire movie was filled with that. And I was like, oh well, this sucks. But the last 3 years after that, my mom's kind of pulled me aside, and her and I have watched Lethal Weapon every Christmas.
That's
Uh,
cool.
I love that movie a lot. It's great.
I thought there were a lot of like houses with Christmas lights and stuff toward the end. Like I thought there was at least a sequence where you see quite a bit of
There
Christmas.
definitely is. It's like I can see where she got that, but it was also just like, ah, why aren't we watching the 68th Christmas Carol of the day? Why are we watching this?
Miracle on 34th Street.
I want
Exactly.
to echo Robert Wild's comment of maybe this Christmas is when I finally get around to Lethal Weapon.
You've not seen it either.
I've not seen it. It's a movie that basically everybody I know has seen and just generally loves, so
Yeah.
I have no excuse. My brother, when he was living in LA, his roommate is like a massive Lethal Weapon fan, and after living together for like a year, Spencer was like, "Honor, you like he's all about Lethal Weapon." The second one is his favorite, and he's like, by the time he got to number three, he's like, "I don't even know if these movies are good anymore, but I love them." So, um, now that he's back in Portland, I think this December, If I don't pick Lethal Weapon, he will for sure make me watch Lethal Weapon. So it'll happen.
That's awesome. And I definitely fall under the Lethal Weapon over Die Hard thing that you said, Cap.
Mhm.
I like Die Hard fine, but Lethal Weapon, baby.
And Danny Glover is also in one of those new Jumanji movies.
It's all connected by Jumanji.
Yeah, so I've now brought up 3 people that are in those.
Its web connects them all. Jumanji.
Okay, well, we're at an hour 40 minutes, and we're all ready to number 67. What is
All
your...
right.
I know,
Finally quit
we're
because
trucking.
It's Jumanji.
it's Jumanji, guys.
Oh, did you pick one we've said already?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I was just rolling with Austin's bit.
No,
This
it's
is
just
a
when you
short
said this will be
movie.
quick, I was like, ooh, maybe it's what we've said already.
Oh, no. This is not this movie actually is 76 minutes long. So just take the numbers and then swap it. This is a short movie.
You put it in the wrong spot.
You guys haven't watched it. I know that for a fact. And most people who know about this movie don't really like it. So this is probably my least popular pick. But so this is actually one of my favorite Studio Ghibli films. And for the longest time, it didn't have distribution outside of Japan. When
That's also a theme.
Disney, yeah, whoa, there is Japanese in this leg of the race.
A lot of foreign
But
things too, because we've had Italian stuff too.
that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is actually, I guess, going to Italian. Ironically, this is the one Studio Ghibli movie that doesn't have a dub because when Disney had the license to Ghibli, this wasn't a part of that distribution because this was actually originally created for television. So back in the early 90s, Studio Ghibli had this division where they were going to put out a series of films for television distribution, and it was going to be shorter, but they weren't going to skip on budget, or they weren't going to skip on talent, and they weren't going to skip on quality. And because of that, but they were going to produce it for less budget and less time in less time, and they were going to kind of give over these projects to the younger up and coming talent at the studio. But because they weren't skipping on quality, it went over time, over schedule, and over budget. So then they just said, okay, we're canceling these. So this is the only one of these movies that Ghibli ever did, and it finally got distribution outside of Japan in 2016 to middling reviews. But it is the film Ocean Waves. Um, it is a teen coming of age angsty movie, and it's a melodrama. And that's my thing. I if you like I have a fondness for melodrama, and if you can do it well, and if you can do the teen angst in an authentic way, then like look, I was a very angsty, emotional teenager. I was a very like corny church kid. I was that type. I was too self-conscious to be a theater kid. So I guess being a corny church kid is like theater kid adjacent. But like I still hung out with like artsy people. I wasn't really involved in a lot of like clubs, but like I had friends in different pockets, so I kind of weaved around a little bit. And I had a twin brother, so my friends were his friends and his friends were my friends, but because there was two of us, we were never really super close with anybody else. But yeah, I think this movie is lovely, and it just kind of touches on it's very honest about a kind of angst and attraction that teenagers have towards others that I think is just very authentically like rendered. It's Ghibli, so the animation is amazing. The gentleness I think really lends itself well to this kind of a thing, but it kind of allows these characters to be flawed and thorny in a way that like you're not going to get in something that is supposed to make a lot of money, like I don't know, From Up on Poppy Hill. That's like Save the Rec Center Studio Ghibli edition. Cute movie. But I think really ultimately where this culminates in the last like 20 or so minutes, it does a time jump to where a lot of these high schoolers are now older and they're like kind of reconnecting at a reunion, and it's like not the people you would expect to like be reconnecting. And just the last closing moments, it's I saw it coming from a mile away, but that inevitability of it made it so satisfying. This is why predictability is not inherently like a problem for me. And like, cause like you get it and you know that deep down the main character knows this, but they're not facing it, and like kind of seeing a person just as they come of age just get honest about things in their life that they thought they were too smart for. It's just like really cool to see that in an animated film, because that is, and you start to see like kind of where the animated form actually play into that in a way that like if you're doing it with like live actors, maybe the actors wouldn't really be mature enough or like understand how to get that out of their characters. Like, and even if you get one or two of those really good performances, you're not going to get that out of an entire cast. But it is short, it is to the point, and this, when I was doing like a Ghibli marathon with a friend of mine, this was like the discovery for me. So I love this movie. Um, Anyone out there who will watch it probably won't like it that much because a lot of people did not dig this when they finally saw it. But for me, I loved it. So give it a chance if you're interested. It's only 76 minutes.
That sounds cool and like very different for like. And I've not seen a ton of Ghibli, but I really like what I've seen. But it sounds like very different from the couple that I have seen.
Yeah, I think the closest comp would be Whisper of the Heart, which is probably a better movie, but I think about Ocean Waves more, and it's more of a hangout movie than that movie is, and I think that's also why it's a hangout. Like, I love hangout movies. So
Oh, for sure.
That's been another theme
Uh,
on this show: movies that are predictable but satisfying regardless, or
yeah.
satisfying even because of that in certain cases.
yeah, definitely.
That
Anyways,
that's the
Austin,
thing I
what is
almost
it?
want to do a whole show on at some point. Whole like old like Geeks Not Nerds type stream. Like when is it a problem that you're formulaic and when is it not?
No, that's a great. It's a great
Mhm.
topic for discussion, and actually, Christopher Nolan kind of touched on it recently in an interview where he
I
was
saw
saying
that. Yeah.
he was talking about how like I don't know, I think it'd be very easy to spin this in a negative way, but I think like he was just talking about how like a lot of like kind of amateur film critics, he's like he said that there's a lot of like this idea that being able to identify a trope makes it problematic, and he's like
Yeah.
that's not really inherently
Mhm.
a problem though.
No,
So
it's being able to understand like the formula, if you will, isn't necessarily an issue. I agree with that completely. Obviously, you can't have things that are formulaic that are an issue,
Yeah,
but
like
it's not an inherent issue.
when you complain a thing is predictable, because obviously I have said that as a negative, uh, problem before, like as a negative problem. Good God, I wish I could start streaming at 8 o'clock again. I when when you when you come like I have said lots of times that's predictable, and I've said that in a negative connotation, but you don't always follow up with that. If that's a problem, it's usually because other things aren't working, right? Like I you're like calling things before they happen because you're not wrapped up enough in it. Like if you're saying that, you're probably the characters probably aren't uh you know you're resonating and gelling with you. It probably feels real plot driven as opposed to character driven.
yeah, and I got to go back to it because I suffered through it. But when you're watching epic movie and you're like, all right, when's that person getting hit in the head? There it is. Okay, now when are they gonna fart? There it is.
Why are they bringing Captain Jack Swallows back? Or Crispin Glover as Willy Wonka?
Like there's a difference between we're just hitting the beats and all roads were always leading here. I think is
Yes.
the best way to put it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good.
Anyway, what's your next one, Austin?
So my next one is a movie I liked a lot as a kid, and this is a creator that has done a lot of crap, especially after this. That I hit a certain. I feel like I hit like my kind of teens and was like, That movie's probably not very good. Like, I liked it because I was a kid. I probably shouldn't go back to it. And then I finally did and realized that it is a giant homage to something that I really like and had like a whole other appreciation of this. And that is Sleepy Hollow. Uh, yeah. Like, Tim Burton can be pretty dodgy, but I really love Sleepy Hollow.
Austin, that's not the hot take you think it is, buddy. I think most of us agree
Yeah,
with that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, and it kept me
Like
away
just the way
from
you were
this for a long
saying it,
time.
it seemed like you were being like real dodgy. You were like, I know it's a
No, we
crazy thing to
know.
say, but Tim
We've
Burton.
all seen his Alice in Wonderland. We know.
We've all seen his Willy Wonka starring Crispin Glover.
He directed epic movie, Kev.
No, he didn't. Did he? No, he didn't.
No, but that is a bad example. Well, in general, a lot of really bad Tim Burton films also star Johnny Depp. Uh, but no, this is a great homage to Hammer horror. I really love how this movie looks. I really like the kind of supernatural mystery stuff with it. I always thought that was really captivating as a kid, and even going back to it now, knowing where it's going, like I really love all the atmosphere in it. Uh, the Headless Horseman is like the most awesome movie monster. Again, while you're watching it, you're like, this is so cool. He's such a great slasher villain. And then when he gets ahead and he's Christopher Walken with razor teeth, who only speaks and roars, it's beautiful. uh, like it's just complete perfection. Uh, it has one of the greatest horror movie kills in anything, where they all hide out in the church because the headless horseman can't walk on holy ground, so he rips a piece of a fence off and spears it through the window into the guy. It's amazing. If you haven't seen this film, it's wonderful. I highly recommend it. Like I said, I think it's one of Tim Burton's best movies, and it both feels like a Tim Burton movie, and because it's so like Hammer horror-y, I think it's got like a very different flavor at the same time. It really walks kind of a tightrope with that, I think.
Cool. I picked that up on a whim. I will probably watch it this October.
Oh hell yeah!
He stole it from a video store that closed down. I
That's the best
saw
way to watch
that
it.
in high school and never again. I've got to watch it again at some point. I remember really liking it, but it's been 20 years since I've seen it. That's a really pretty release too. Is that Steelbook?
It's-
No, it's not. It's actually got like it's put like part book.
Oh,
Where, like you
neat.
open it up and it's I don't I don't think it's the full story. It's been a long time since I've read it. I think it's just a bit of that the book.
With that shiny cover, it looked like it might be a Steelbook.
I
Oh
thought
yeah,
it
no, I
was.
can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it says it's the 20th anniversary release.
That's neat.
Yeah, and like Robert just said, it's like perfect spooky season movie.
Are you gonna put that on Spooky Medium?
I don't have it, but probably at some point.
Yeah.
It's definitely in my list of movies to possibly pick.
Well, my next movie could also be on that list, and also has a classic slash. Well, we all love Scream, right?
We do.
Okay, well, this is a movie that has to exist before you get Scream, but you could say that, of course, about the whole slasher genre, really. And again, I don't have a lot of horror movies on my list, but I felt like I would be remiss if I did not at least include Halloween, which is a movie that I'm missing a copy of right now. I need to get a real cool release for that. But I do have a Michael Myers pop figure, so I brought this guy out. So I at least have that. So I don't have a movie, but I've got him. So we can I can really uh what I don't know. What can I say about Halloween? One of the moodiest. Kind of just wrap you up in the ambiance kind of movies ever made. It's I don't know. I can't say things that it have not been said a million times. It's one of those late 70s movies that's so insanely ahead of its time. Like it would be dumb to say like the 80s only has so many bangers because of what happens in the 70s, but like it's true, and within a couple of years it's wild that you get, and in different genres too, that like you're in the late 70s you're looking at Halloween at the same time as you're looking at Star Wars. Like it's crazy how much innovation is happening right then with all of these different movie genres. But Halloween is wonderful just because of its simplicity. I like we can talk about cinematography and in like really beautiful and impressive shot composition and just the meticulous pacing of that movie. But it's also really cool for the reason that a lot of the sequels, of course, aren't, in that it just doesn't feel the need to explain anything, and it it starts with this very simple premise of just, is evil real? Like, does everyone that does horrible things have motivation? Are there not instances of abhorrent, terrible, like unspeakable acts done by people for no good reason at all? And like, isn't that terror? Like, isn't that even scarier than this person is out for revenge, or this person I like had this horrible trauma in their past, they're taking it out on everybody else. Like the idea that it starts with that Michael Myers starts as a child that is just murdering people is like, the more you think about it, the more you go, yeah, that's like the scariest possible thing, because children are supposed to be innocent, and we can't think of any reason he would get like that. So like, what is even happening? And like that's what makes it scary. And obviously the idea is supposed to be that there's there's maybe like an entity in the place of this child, and that's especially suggested by the fact that it seems to be a supernatural force, and by the end it can just fall out of a building and get up and be fine. And so, and I think maybe even get shot out of I forget, but um it's it's while you're watching it, at least first time out, like, or at least that was my experience the first time I saw Halloween, is like the scary thing was, oh, maybe this is possible. That just like someday some kid just gets up and decides to start like murdering his family and then never stops, and then just does that forever. Like that's what was really kind of terrifying about it for me. And I obviously like the setting and the time period is cool. Like, let's take the actual holiday and make it scary. Like, let's make a movie that if you watched it the day before Halloween, you wouldn't want to go trick or treating. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Halloween, my shame, for a while, I
Robert, he
considered to
shot him
be a
6
very
times. Was it 6 times? I thought he got shot at the end.
I shot him 6 times.
oh, I got it. I got
Again, a movie I don't know
screenshot.
super well and have only seen a few times. But again,
I
I'm
got
not.
That's the big thing he
James
yells at the start of 2. He runs around screaming that over and over
Oh, I
again.
forgot about that. I
See,
did
I
my
got
binge
it.
watch of all of those like a decade ago.
I got it mixed up with Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I thought he's like, I shot him 9 times, 9 times.
9 times.
But no, that's actually like, say what you will about Halloween Kills. There's stuff to say about it, but I will say the funniest thing in that movie, and intentionally funny, is where it's like the begin, like the prologue to that is like, Michael Myers' perspective after he walks away from that, I think, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, point is like you hear like on the radio like we've got Dr. Loomis saying he shot the perpetrator multiple times. I'm like, I know he shot him 6 times. There's a specific number there that you're leaving out.
Yeah, but it would be really goofy if he knew that exact number.
Yeah,
Saying
no,
it in the
I know that,
radio.
like,
You shot him
You
it's
just
just
6
hear him in the
times.
background over the police radio. I shot him 6 times.
but no, I would say like I did not appreciate Halloween until disappointingly recently. About 4 years ago, I decided to just rewatch it. And it was importantly, I guess, the only time I had seen it by myself, and it was like rediscovering the movie, where I was like, oh, this is really good, like, and I don't know, like, I don't know what I wasn't really seeing in it before. Maybe it was just putting incorrect expectations on it, but I you know like I there's such a texture to that movie, and just kind of like you said, like the meticulous way that it just allows the events to roll out. Like nowadays a lot of horror films feel like roller coaster rides where they need to stimulate you constantly, and just allowing you to just live with Laurie and her friends and just kind of let them live a little, and like it's really effective.
Well, it
And
learned the right
it's
lessons with Hitchcock, where it's about the anticipation.
yeah,
And it's not the, like, life is about the journey, not the destination. You do have to get there at some point.
yes,
But it is
yeah.
all about the anticipation up until the thing happens. And obviously, it's not like Psycho where there's, like, the one big kill, but it's like that in the sense that there's a lot of anticipation. Like, you're constantly waiting for something to happen, but it can happen at any time.
And the anticipation is like chilling. Like the scene that like creeps me out the most is where is it Tommy like looks out the window and he sees the silhouette of it's the Universal Monsters picture of like Michael Myers carrying
Yeah.
around the body like around the house across the street. That is so spooky. Like it's great.
That's such a beautiful image. Yeah, I actually had a similar thing, and like I've always really loved this movie, but I had a similar kind of like Second Coming viewing of it when I saw it the first time in the theater. So I've seen it twice now. I tend to just if it's playing, I'll go see it. But the first time I saw it in the theater, it was like the lights dimmed, and I was seeing it with like brand new eyes, like for the first time again, and it was really magical. It was amazing.
That's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, I love Halloween.
Yeah, that's one of those movies where I feel like the setting you see it in maybe matters.
Yes.
You know, like I would like to see that in the theater. But also I think it's probably creepier or at least moodier and it's easier to suck yourself in with it, Connor, if you do it the way you did it, where you turn off all the lights and you watch it by yourself. I I bet that's worse in the right ways.
Yeah, like the part where Michael jumps up from behind the couch, like I jumped. You know, you have that moment where you look over your couch and you're like, ooh, like it's great.
Halloween is also the greatest thing that The Exorcist 2 has ever given us because John Carpenter watched that, and there's like one shot where it's got like that glide, and John Carpenter was like, "This is the most amazing shot I've ever seen," and it was like he was like, "I'm taking this," and like that's the rig he uses through a lot of his movies, which is how you get like that very smooth glide, and obviously like how they do the opening.
That's cool. See, guys, you should watch movies that are bad. All right, maybe
Exactly. You'll see
you-
one shot and be like, "Yep, more
that's
of
my
this."
Okay, we've got one more round to go. My last one I'm gonna spend like no time on. You'll understand why when we get there. But let's hear from Connor once again. One more time.
one more.
And Greg Goat wrote this, and I just since I brought up Halloween, I want to say it one time, which is Evil Dies Tonight. And now it's Connor's
Evil
turn.
Dies Tonight.
Evil Dies Tonight, and with that, All right, so I am not beating the Connor's pretentious allegations with this next one. Um, so, in your head, when you think of art house movie, you have a very specific thing in your head of like maybe some uh, voiceover monologue that's probably whispered, saying something kind of flowery and poetic while people are twirling in like a field or some crap. And that's basically the entirety of this movie, which is Terrence Malick's 2011 film The Tree of Life, starring Brad Pitt and Jessica Chastain.
I feel like you've told me to watch this.
I have definitely not told you to watch
Oh, you haven't? Okay. Okay. I must be thinking of something else. Awesome.
I am very selective with who I would recommend this to, and it's not many people because there's a perception of like a certain kind of like pretentious movie. And if somebody watches like 5 minutes of this, they would probably be like, no. And I don't, and I wouldn't blame them. That being said, I love this movie. So Terrence Malick is a pretty like a revolutionary figure in film. He made a film in the early 70s called Badlands with Sissy Spacek and Martin Sheen. It was like really popular and influential and very clearly kind of made in the wake of Bonnie and Clyde. And it was a one of countless sort of lovers who are criminals on the run type movies. Steven Spielberg did one of his own called The Sugarland Express. Like there's just like a whole bunch of these movies. But Badlands is sort of seen as like the one for a lot of people. Maybe I'll watch it again and it'll strike me. I thought it was just okay. The production is amazing, but then he made a movie called Days of Heaven, which was very much more of what you would expect from Terrence Malick. And then he made no movies for 20 years. And then he came back with The Thin Red Line. And then he made one other movie called The New World. And then he made this. So he's only made like a small handful of movies over the course of like almost 30 years by the
What
time
did
he
he do
makes
for
this.
20 years?
No one knows because he's a recluse. He
Wow.
never makes public appearances. There's like pictures of him from like that are like from far away, like where he's on a set. Like he doesn't talk much. All that's really known about him is he loves Zoolander and he makes art movies. And everyone he seems to work with seems to love working with him. Um, so yeah, The Tree of Life. Basically, kind of what I've mentioned in passing is that I really enjoy movies that are like this director telling their own origin story. And I remember I mentioned this about Matinee in our last stream. And I saw a comment where someone was like, well, it's not really that because Joe Dante didn't write it. But it's like, yeah, but it is. Like, even if it's not like literally him talking about stuff that has happened to him, that is very much him porting his life experience into that story. And what you have here is a boldness with that where it doesn't care about being seen as pretentious. And I think that really helps this movie kind of commit to the bit, so to speak. Where um, what's interesting to me is how, like, you look at everyone else in your life and you're like, these are just other people, right? Like, these are just other people. But, and it might die down as you get older, but everybody, like, their history is important to themselves. Like, nostalgia in my mind is sort of like how we sort of mythologize our own history, which makes sense and how that works. But it's like we kind of think of each person, I think, to some degree, thinks of their own history as this almost like biblical important thing, or you think of specific events in that way. Because on a bird's eye view level, if you were to just look at the Tree of Life, what it's about is it's about a kid growing up in Texas in the mid-century, and he's got a brother who dies, and he's got a stern father, and he's got an angelic mother, and life happens. When you actually watch it, though, it takes you a while to get there because what it's about is Sean Penn plays this young man or this kid grown up, and his other brother has just died, and he's thinking about the death of his first brother. And we kind of get this very dreamlike flashing around his father is played by Brad Pitt, his mom is Jessica Chastain, and this is like before Jessica Chastain was even really known. This was like you'd call it her big break, but it was like before The Help. So like it was kind of like a couple movies kind of coming out all at once. But um it compares your own childhood to the birth of the cosmos and the dinosaurs. You see the birth of the universe for a period of time. You see dinosaurs roam the earth for a little bit. The movie is sort of about the way of compassion and the way of nature. And so you sort of have the father figure as a sort of like kind of Old Testament God, stern man. And then like the angelic mother is like the way of compassion. You'd almost see her as like a mother nature, but like she's more nurturing than like nature would be. um I don't know, there's a lot of like imagery of like clothes floating around in the ocean. It can be quite abstract, but it is kind of amazing. I love it, and it was a movie that apparently was kind of fabled. No one would ever think he would ever make it until he finally did. um but the way it's really kind of helped me is that like when you see like directors making their own origin stories, I think of like there's a movie recently called Dee Dee, or I think of Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird, and these are modest movies. These are people who kind of understand, like, look, my childhood isn't really unique, but this is what happened to me. And I have a script that I've written that is about my childhood. And in my mind, I've sort of thought about it as a more modest framing, but I kind of wanted to have like sort of John Steinbeck kind of fabulistic quality to it. And watching this, it was really kind of like reassuring to know that like I'm not going for Tree of Life, should I ever make this movie? But somebody did, and they succeeded. Where somebody said, "No, my upbringing was Genesis." And to him, he's correct, Our relationships to each other, we mean the world to each other, but we are insects in the grand scheme of things. And that's kind of what the Tree of Life to me is about. And what's also kind of cool about it is that I'm kind of talking about it in these grand terms, but an old man made this movie. And what's interesting is I would compare it to the Ingmar Bergman film Wild Strawberries, which is about an old man. And both of them, they aren't these overwhelming emotional experiences. I actually finally broke down and watched The Tree of Life when my grandpa died. I'd been awake for like 2 in the morning, and I said, it's finally time to watch The Tree of Life. And it wasn't the emotional experience I was expecting. It was actually so much more meditative than I was expecting. It's like 2.5 hours, and it's not trying to like be an emotional experience. It was more soothing than that. I watched it after my grandpa died, but man, that movie's gonna hurt like a bitch when my dad dies. So, hey, Austin said it earlier, so I figured I could say it now. Anyways, I don't know. Throwing the Hail Mary with this one. The Tree of Life, 2011, Terrence Malick.
I wish I could follow that up with The Howling too, but unfortunately, it didn't line up like that.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating, and I have no idea how I would feel. I see why you did not suggest that I watch that.
Because I mean,
No,
it takes like
it does sound
Yeah,
interesting.
it
Like
it
does.
takes like
I should watch this.
it does take like 40 minutes before you get to like the kid just living in Texas. Like it takes a while. Like it's very much my speed, but I would like my stepdad tried watching it apropos of nothing. He was like, "Have you seen that movie, The Tree of Life? That sucked, right?" And I'm like, "Well, I like it." And he's like, "Wait, but you like to watch it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh."
Oh.
So, interesting conversation there.
Oh, Nicholas Bodo just said that Tree of Life and Sleepy Hollow were done by the same cinematographer.
Oh,
That's
Emmanuel
cool.
Lubezki shot Sleepy Hollow. I got to see Sleepy Hollow. Okay.
My number 66 is a movie I made Cap watch not that long ago. It is my favorite musical. It is Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, I wonder where that would fall.
Yep. This is my crappy copy that I own that came messed up, but I was like, I really need it for this weekend, so I guess I'm not returning it. But no, I adore this movie. Like we talked about on the Spooky Mania, like I kind of like both cuts. Like I don't really have a definitive. Like I just love this movie. I can watch either. I listen to the soundtrack a ton. I love Rick Moranis in it. He's great, and Audrey 2 is like the most awesome villain ever. It's so cool.
I think I've come down on the director's cut is the way to watch it, though. I think that's where I'm
No,
at
no, I
on
think
it
that's
now.
fair. I think that's fair. It depends on what mood I'm in, because
Sure.
the theatrical cut is it's like a middle finger to the studio. Like you wanted a happy ending. Well, here you go.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's maybe in its way fun knowing what happened with it, I guess.
Yeah, I know. So I get that enjoyment out of it. But I mean, the director's cut ending is like the most awesome thing ever, and it's like, oh, they put all like all the money went into this sequence. It's
Well,
so
and
cool.
my big thing is I don't know if you could say that ending is foreshadowed to, but all roads are leading there. Like that's clearly the movie they're making up until you get to whichever ending.
Yeah, no, exactly. Uh, no, and Steve Martin, of course, is wonderful in this. Bill Murray is an amazing cameo, and it's also fun in that sequence because the dentist tools are the tools the Doctor uses for the Joker in '89, and Bill Murray's role is like I don't think it's his first role, but it's one of Jack Nicholson's first roles in any movie. It's like that's kind of a fun tie, and it's just all around a great time.
Did Frank Oz direct that?
He did, yeah.
Love that man.
And it's also amazing because they had to shoot it slowed down. Yeah, is how they had to do it with the puppet. So
Mhm.
whenever they're singing with it, they all have to move slow, and then like they speed up the
Is it
frames
like
to
a
make the puppet
quarter
move.
speed or an eighth speed or something? Like it's wild.
Yeah, it's something like that. And uh Audrey 2, the lip sync on Audrey 2 is so perfect. Like I don't know how they got it so well. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, it's to date some of the most impressive puppetry in anything, and
Yeah.
and it's not Muppets. Like it's people that made Muppets.
No, and it is one of those things where I'm like, man, this should have won the Oscar, and then it's like, oh well, it
Mhm.
lost to the Queen Alien and Aliens, which is also a really impressive puppet. So I'm like, I get it. But at the same time, the puppetry in this movie is some of the best I've ever seen. And yeah.
That's always a shame when like I don't know. I saw a movie the other day where I was like, man, this supporting actor performance is so good. Why didn't he win? Oh, it was the same year J.K. Simmons was in Whiplash.
What are you gonna do?
Well,
You ain't beating that.
I can't argue with it.
And that music is really catchy and fun and memorable uh and Austin, my son Mikey is still begging me to show him that again. He fell in love with that movie. Mikey had like a
That's
spiritual
awesome.
experience with Little Shop of Horrors. I bought him an off-brand.
Horrors, Cap.
Oh yeah, horrors. Pardon me. I bought him a off-brand Lego Audrey 2 for Christmas, and you should have seen his eyes light up when he opened that.
That's awesome.
He's I think he finished putting it together, and it's pretty cool.
That's great.
I
Yeah, I
need to
mean,
watch it
like,
again. He hasn't gotten to see it again because we felt like the twins weren't quite old enough for it, and he keeps wanting to watch it during like we usually let them watch a movie in the afternoon, and he keeps being like, "Hey, can I show the girls Little Shop of Horrors?" And I'm like, I don't think quite yet. Like,
he's like, no, Dad, they need to see Audrey too.
They need to see Audrey 2 eat people.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's kind of more the dentistry stuff I'm worried would disturb them. Like, Connor, have you seen that movie? Ah,
I,
I
I have seen
I hadn't
I
even
have
until
seen like the
last year.
Steve Martin clip, like that scene where he's singing and he's like on the bike and he's got like the dentist tools. I've seen that like number and I'm like, that's great, that's awesome. And I've seen some of the puppetry clips and stuff, but I haven't seen the movie. Apparently it's getting a 4K later this year, so I will pick that up and
So
watch
you're
it.
telling me I could replace this really beat up Blu-ray?
Maybe. It's not confirmed. Don't take my word for it just yet.
That sucks. I
I
just
hope
bought
so.
it.
I got this for like $10 too. Like that was also part of it. Like I'm like, whatever. It's
Yeah, I
fine.
got mine really cheap too. Well, Austin, I can't believe that Little Shop of Horrors wound up on the number that it did, given my next movie, which again I'm not going to talk a lot about because this is another one that we've done on a Mania and not too long ago. My 66 is Aladdin.
I thought you were gonna say The Cell.
I'm just saying you did the first movie of those composers, and then here comes Aladdin.
Yeah, no, because Little Shop you can like fully see the seeds for their work on the Disney Renaissance.
Mm-hmm. As you guys know, if you saw any of Disney Renaissance Mania, I'm a big fan of that period of Disney, particularly the earliest stuff. So you won't be surprised to know that some of that will wind up on my list. I'm obviously Aladdin won't be the only one. I won't tell you yet which ones, but you can probably guess if you saw Disney Mania. This is another one that, as I was putting my list together, I was kind of like on again, off again about if it would even go, and then it wound up this high once I decided to include it. Some of that is just I was weirdly obsessed with this movie as a kid. And sometimes I kind of thinking about it and I'm like, I don't know, am I really that big of an Aladdin fan? And then I'm like, yeah, but do you remember how excited you were that they were making a sequel? Like, oh yeah, I do kind of remember that now. Um the like a lot of it is just visual stuff. Like obviously Aladdin has a lot of good songs. Obviously, the genie is fun. Obviously, it's got one of their better villains with Jafar. It's endlessly quotable. Uh, but it's like a lot of it is just particular shots and landscape stuff. Like the Cave of Wonders is one of the coolest things put into a Disney movie. Uh, it's a big talking cave. It's like a tiger face. Like it's so freaking cool. It's like been burned in my head forever, and like I wanted a playset of that when I was a kid. And it's got like that Malbolgia voice. Like it's fantastic. Um, but yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. I just like I had to think about it. I was like, if I'm really honest with myself, it probably should make the list, and so here it is.
That's a
Uh,
great movie.
I think that might have my favorite songs from any of the Disney movies.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think they're all good. There's not really a weak link song in Aladdin. I will still complain forever that Jafar doesn't get a song, but
oh, yeah, good point. But no, there was I went to karaoke and like a friend of a friend did Prince Ali
yeah.
and he killed it. Like that song rules. I love it. But if you ever get a guy who can do it in karaoke, have him go and do it because you can liven it up. But I love the music in that movie a lot, and obviously Robin Williams is awesome in that.
Yeah, and it's got a great conceit to be able to get away with pop culture references. Uh, I still am embarrassed about how long it took me to realize that the guy like peddling stuff at the beginning that's got the lamp is supposed to be the genie and he is Robin Williams' voice. Like I didn't know that till I was an adult.
That's great. Oh man, Arabian Nights. Oh yeah, sorry.
Like, I had no
I
idea that's who
cannot
that was.
remember.
I've done that for karaoke.
It's
Uh,
great music. Yeah.
the
Will
other
not
day
break.
I heard
It broke.
the other day I heard Will Smith's version of "Never Had a Friend Like Me" again.
No.
And it had been a long time, but
Why
I
did you
forgot
have to
about.
bring that up? I was hoping I could get through this whole thing without without the remake coming up. But no, you had to go off. Sorry, good.
No, because I burst out laughing, forgetting the line, "You can wish away the haters," and that's wonderful. And I was like, I'm so glad this popped back into my life again for this one moment.
I'll just never forget how embarrassed I was for the Jasmine song in the theater.
Yep.
I felt
Well, since we're
so.
bringing it up, you said how excited you were for the sequel. I'm like, oh, is Guy Ritchie still doing that?
No, that's not what I'm talking about, Connor Nielsen.
We're about to get wished away with the haters.
Another one. It's Will Smith and DJ Khaled.
I was talking about the return of Jafar. Nicholas Bodo, I heard the remake Butcher's Jafar. Yeah, they got into this period after Beauty and the Beast where it was like they went out of their way to make the villains as boring and nothing as possible, with like no sense of gravitas or state or screen presence or anything. And it's really sad because they had like the perfect guy and the perfect take for Gaston, and then it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast, but that's my issue with all of those remakes. I don't even like Shere Khan and the Jungle Book one, even though I think that movie is fine.
Yeah, my prediction would be you'd watch Beauty and the Beast and Gaston would be the one thing you'd like.
I mean, that's good.
That's kind of what I think would happen. Is you'd have the reverse of you're like, well, he was good, but I'd be surprised if you didn't like him. I mean, he's pretty like
he's Bard the Bone.
spot on.
He's Bard from The Hobbit. But Dracula Untold.
Oh yeah, he's Dracula Untold.
Yeah.
But no,
I wasn't sure who that was. He must be in Nothing But Things I've Never Seen.
He was like a thing for that moment and then went away. They were like, we're pushing him for a minute. And then
is he a recluse now? Nobody knows what he does. We only have pictures of him from real far away.
Yeah, exactly.
Luke Evans is a distant relative of Terrence Malick.
He'll show back up 20 years later when they make the inevitable Gaston solo film based on the comics that are currently being made by Dynamite.
He'll be in Secret Wars as Gaston.
I mean, Disney's got the right. They could do it. There's nothing stopping them.
You're gonna lose your mind when that movie ends with Captain America riding Simba into battle while wielding both his shield and a lightsaber. You're gonna go nuts. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, that's what I've been waiting for all along.
Yeah.
But regarding the original Aladdin,
yeah,
I love the magic carpet. I love Iago. I love like how populated that world is. It's such a good extended cast.
Oh yeah, I did this wrong. I should have said before I pulled the box up. I should have said you're about to have a heart attack and die of not surprise. That's my pick. That's what I should have said. Anyway, good night, everybody.
I could have seen it higher. That's a little surprising.
Well, I had to spread them out a little bit. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about Aladdin. We did a whole commentary on that earlier this year. So yeah, thank you guys for doing another one of these. We went a little longer this time because I had a long preamble when I almost launched right into this. And then everybody had to pick really like classic beloved films. And
demons.
And then all of Austin's choices.
Oh.
was gonna say, well, we spent 20 minutes each on our first picks, and then we're like, oh, we
Yes.
gotta speed this up.
Yes, we did. Well, yeah, but that made sense. I mean, think about what the picks were, though.
Yeah, no, we had Demons and we had School of Rock.
Yeah, I guess
Do
I
you have
didn't
a
have to
werewolf
take as
pitch?
long on School of Rock, but like people in the comments had things to say, and but a lot of it was your first pick, Connor. Like,
Oh, what was it? Oh, King Kong.
was King
King
Kong.
Kong.
I
Look,
took a
I've already
second.
talked
Most
about
famous
it.
movie
I-
ever made.
You know, that movie's in your list now. You
Yeah, that's in
probably
your
know.
list too, right? All right, we're gonna go ahead and get going. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Tomorrow night, Jason and I are gonna be doing a request on because Austin's out of town, which is why we mixed things up this week and why we don't have a request tonight. So I'm just mentioning this for the couple of people that will wonder why we're not doing that right now. And what even is the thing Jason and I are watching? The only
Summer
time
Wars.
that's what it is. Yeah, it's an anime film called Summer Wars, and Jason and I, the only time we have to watch it is immediately before we do the video. So we'll be spending our evening watching that and then talking about it straight away. So join us for that, and then over the weekend, I've got a kind of hush hush mystery thing I'm not going to tell you about that I'm going to post. And anyway, so we've got stuff. And we'll see you again next week. Thanks for watching. I was Captain Logan, and we had Austin the Day Ghost.
Good night, everybody.
And Connor Nielsen.
Ciao.
See you later, folks.